What is going on, everybody? It is episode 305 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name's Brett. I'm here with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. Should I make a Pitbull joke? Should I not?
He's Mr. Worldwide.
Mr. Worldwide.
Yes.
Truly. The morale is high today. We're watching Blood and Honey later. It's going to be great. And we've got our usual Thursday crew here. Firstly, Kellen is here.
You are officially Thursday crew, you guys.
It's not official.
I
don't know if we're there
We're going
yet.
steady.
I don't know if we're Noodles and Company yet.
Isn't it Friday?
Don't start the
thought it was
gaslighting
Friday.
today. I don't like this already.
Don't even start with us.
All right.
And Serge is there.
Yes.
Gaslighting
What's
us.
up?
I don't like the gaslighting, my friend. That's not very nice. Do you remember like in mid 2020 when like Pitbull was getting like all that press for being like not a fan of socialism because he's from
I don't remember him talking about socialism at all.
Yeah,
Wait, where is he from again?
He's Cuba.
Cuba?
Cuba, yeah.
Oh, he's from everywhere.
He's
He's Mr.
Worldwide.
Worldwide.
Yeah,
How's he from?
So I just now whenever I hear his music,
Does he go back to Cuba much?
I don't know if he goes back to Cuba. I think it was Cuba, but I just remember him talking about how socialism.
How Justin Trudeau is the illegitimate child of Fidel Castro.
Serge, remember when you told me that Pitbull actually inspired you to become a DJ? I thought that was awesome.
Is that true?
That true?
Cap.
So it's not true.
No,
So,
that's-
So he's
that is
capping.
false. Yes, that's
is what
pure
you're
cap.
saying.
I've never said that once.
it's way cooler if it's true.
that would've been
It's like saying you
would be
became a
cool.
DJ because of DJ Khaled.
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
No,
but
because
DJ
of Paris
Khaled, though,
Hilton.
yes.
Yeah. Oh, it's even
Yeah,
better.
Paris Hilton too. DJ Khaled, I'll take those. But no, Mr. Worldwide, no.
Dude,
Can't-
Paris
can't take
Hilton
that.
would be a funny one to become.
I'm
a
still
DJ
not
for.
convinced she touches the controls. I think she just dances.
Just pushes her hands out there and goes like this.
She has to have learned a little bit at this point, so I'll give that to her.
I saw my internet world and the regular world kind of collided recently, where there's one of my guilty pleasure Instagrammers to follow is Sophie Lloyd, who's a guitarist. And I found out she's apparently like one of the main guitarists for MGK, and apparently she's like the one they're like saying like she might have been the one that cheated on.
Oh.
on MGK with
MGK cheated on
Yeah.
Megan Fox
Yeah.
with
See,
her.
I think she's making herself available for these visitors that we have, whether it be Chinese or aliens.
Could be.
All these spy balloons that have been floating around. I think she made herself available.
Very, very
Smart
good
play.
possible. Yeah.
7D chess.
Are we on 7D by now? We haven't even made it to 5D yet. I thought it was 5D first, and now there's money on my notes and everything. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about today. We're going to talk about the critics. They have rightly panned. Oh, I shouldn't say rightly because I haven't seen the movie yet. We're going to see it tomorrow. They have panned Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. They aren't fans of it. They've got a whole bunch of criticism to it. It is the second lowest rated Marvel movie on Rotten Tomatoes behind Eternals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really? Eternals is the bottom?
That makes me
Rightfully
happy.
so. Rightfully so. So we'll talk about that. We're going to talk about the most Hollyweird of Hollyweird contracts, in which Rebel Wilson was told that if she wanted to remain in the Pitch Perfect movies, she had to not lose weight. You are not allowed to get healthy, Rebel, if you want to make your money. You have to get done with the movie quick enough and stay unhealthy enough for a certain period of time, and then once you get make your money, then you can lose all your weight. So we're going to talk about that.
Wow.
We are also going to talk about the fact that people are calling Yellowstone, or really Taylor Sheridan Productions as a whole, a liberal psyop to draw conservatives into
I love
their
it.
point of
I
view.
know that you, the Tulsa King simp, are going to be coping so hard during that topic.
I've kind of I don't want to talk about Yellowstone per se. I want to talk about it because they don't really talk about it as Yellowstone. They talk about it
It's
as
Yellowstone and
Taylor
Taylor
Sheridan. It's
Sheridan,
Taylor
so-
Sheridan as a whole. So
Yeah.
we'll talk about that, and then we're also going to talk about Will Smith and Tom Cruise and how those connect. Right?
Mainly this Oscar nominees luncheon, it doesn't connect at all. It's just, celebrities doing things of note there.
Celebrities doing celebrity things. So we'll talk about that. Before we get started, could you guys hit the like button, please? I asked you earlier in the chat. I'm asking you again. Could you please hit the like button? Subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already. It would help us greatly. Thank you very much. We have Cringe of the Day. I want to go right into Cringe of the Day because Cringe of the Day is absolutely hilarious.
It's a good one.
So if you haven't had enough of Sam Smith, slow cooked ham, we're gonna talk a little bit more about slow cooked ham today. Oh, you can call him slow cooked Sam. That's perfect. Okay, because he looked like a ham in that
Sam
outfit.
Planet.
Yeah, it's what it is. So Sam Smith corrects one show host after being misgendered over his dream of being a fisher them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not a fisherman, a fisher them. You thought Mary calling Demi Lovato yesterday was mean. It's not. They're doing it to themselves, apparently. So this is the clip here.
You're a big fan of fishing.
I do love
No.
fishing. Yes, I do.
What?
Yeah, I'd love to be a fisher them.
What, like a fly fisherman?
I'd be any type of fisher them. I think I'd
You
like
can't be
to one day. I'd
serious.
just like to end
Well,
my
he
days
did,
fishing. Like
We
sitting
can
on
sort
a
that
boat.
out.
isn't it?
Do you
Yeah.
fly
Peaceful.
fishing? Or
I do it on the sea and I do it in lakes. I've never done it alone.
I'm
Someone always
picturing
taught me.
Sam Smith on Deadliest Catch.
That would be great.
Just goes to show how low stakes your life has to be to care about this nonsense.
Right.
Like,
He also messed
It's
up
actually
initially
fisher
too.
than-
It didn't roll off his tongue. He caught himself first time he said it. It's not
I
like
know.
he's
Fisher them.
clearly engaging in a
It's
type
like,
of.
ooh, I
a
bet
type of
backstage like
think.
2 minutes before the show, he's like, ooh, I got a good
Yeah.
one. Here we
Yeah,
go.
for sure.
What else
for
could we
sure.
ruin?
How is
with,
that considered misgendering? Like, there's no such thing as a fisher woman.
Yeah, it's just.
I'm
fisherman.
surprised he didn't go off and just freak out on
Well-
the girl that had just called him a fisherman right there. That he missed an opportunity. I think that was poor PR for himself. He
She had to
could've-
get like 3 strikes before
Oh, I see.
getting assaulted.
But that's my whole
See, that's how
protest
that
when they
works.
say
I
like
understand how that works now.
English doesn't have gendered language. I'm like, yes, we do. Firemen, fishermen, policemen. It's like
You mean
masculine.
Policewoman is a term people use, though.
Yeah, it's
Kind of.
grown.
I would have said
kind
I
of.
would have said a
Shouldn't,
fisher
though.
person actually,
I'll just say
guys,
cop.
just to be way more inclusive. Okay.
Dude,
I wouldn't
what
say
would
that
you
now.
call a female DJ?
DJ.
A
Is there
DJ.
like
Yeah.
a DJ? That's kind of
DJ.
cool.
I call myself a podcastress.
Wow,
That's a mouthful.
cool. I like that.
Podcast dress.
That rolls off the tongue. I can do that.
It's one of my
Podcastress.
faves.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It's a sign of the times. I was thinking of all the movies and TV shows that would eventually get ruined. Like, does that make like if they make non-binary Batman, does he bat them?
Yeah.
Like, is that what we end up? Is that where we're going?
Bat person,
these
Batman.
days. Bat person. That sucks. That's,
Well,
that's really
It's like
horrible.
Bird Person in Rick and Morty.
Yeah, exactly. That's the best part.
Well, and also, like, where does it stop? Like, I've been watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Would that make her the when she slays as a female vampire, a vampress? Is that still a term? Is that a term
No.
these days?
That show title would still work because
Or Slayeress?
they're not calling her a vampire. Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
Slayeress.
Depends.
Yeah, is Slayer gendered language? I have no idea.
A
It's
slayee.
this is the world we live in now because we live in it. We like. I kind of agree. Maybe we need a war. Maybe that's not a horrible
Oh,
idea.
Okay, so
know.
you're not raging against the war machine. You're
I-
all about it.
I am actually
Coming up on the year
on my worst
anniversary of
days.
Ukraine and
I think that we maybe not a war, but we need a little bit more hardship.
I mean,
in
we
our
don't
lives.
not
Yeah.
need a war. You know,
Oh, Dumbledore
we don't
is right.
Not,
Not need it.
Dumbledore is right. Slay her. That's
Slay
that's
her.
perfect. That's,
yeah.
it's
Well,
a-
it would be Bat Mixon.
It's the them and Stimpy. I was watching Ren and Stimpy. Like they could do this with everything recently.
You
It's
can
gonna
add,
be
you can add that one.
hilarious.
It's about your non-binary roommate named Sock.
I can't wait for all of this to go on.
Clown
Also,
self.
guys, there is a trailer up for John Wick Chapter 4. My one critique is that it's not as good as the first John Wick Chapter 4 trailer, which I think was better executed and better put together. But in general, I still want to see the movie. It is like...
It's just Keanu Reeves running. Keanu Reeves
Reeves
driving a car really fast.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
And that's
Keanu
awesome.
Reeves
Well, you talk
shooting
about
a
like...
gun. And I'm like, wait. What is the movie actually about?
It's about Keanu
about Keanu
Reeves
Reeves.
running and
Revenge.
shooting a
But
gun.
why is he running? Where is he going?
He's
It's a
getting his
revenge.
freedom
What is his
back.
motivation?
He's-
Why is he killing people?
That's a good question, but
Do you
It
really
doesn't
not-
answer any of these questions.
because
doesn't
you
need to.
haven't watched the first 3.
You have to watch the
movies.
first 3.
So you know why he's running?
Yes.
Why is he running?
He has to get his
danger.
freedom back from the council because at the end of the third one, he got turned on
Yep.
and shot off the side of the hotel in a fall that would have killed literally every person in history.
I saw that.
You know how like in the like we talk about how, or Tim has talked about how like the Fast and the Furious like slowly became superheroes. John Wick was essentially a superhero
Let's,
in the second one. He's very much a superhero.
Well, I would
They're
love
trying to
to see
assassinate him?
John Wick X the Punisher.
Yeah, I mean, they're the same thing.
A versus movie.
No, I think they should team up. I don't want to see them fight each other.
So, but here's the thing: when we criticize the Last of Us for not just having Joel and Ellie killing cordyceps, and then quipping back and forth to each other, John Wick knows what they want to give you. You're going to get a bunch of like 30-minute action scenes, and I actually think 3 went a little far. Like the last action scene in 3 was so long that you're actually exhausted.
Too.
Well, the gore doesn't bother me, but it's usually good done in shorter bursts. But it's like 25 minutes long and just hyper violent, which I love. But it's like at this point, is the last hour of the movie just going to be one shot action scene?
I hope
That's
so.
a lot.
I hope so.
It could be. It's also one of the things I love about John Wick is that it's the quintessential story about the color palette that Hollywood is now, which is light blue and yellow, which is exactly what this trailer is. It's bright yellow lights and faded light blue tones for the concrete
Like
and everything
Ukraine,
like that.
like the city.
Yes, basically. Like if you look like even this shot, if you just look at it here without the thing, that's exactly what this is. And I don't want to get a copyright on this, but it's like it's bathed in yellow light that's coming from dreary
It's definitely Ukraine propaganda.
Well,
I
it's
don't
been
mind-
like that since before the
I
war
don't
in
mind
Ukraine,
it.
so.
I hate the dark and super dreary scenes where you literally can't see anything going on.
Yeah.
And then the directors gaslight the viewers. It's probably your TV. Shout out
It's
Game
your
of
cheap,
Thrones.
shitty TV, you peasant.
Yeah.
Is that why Barney always looked a different color to everyone I knew?
And also, they're whispering to each other and they're really quiet and you can't hear the dialogue because
Oh,
of
I
shitty
love-
speakers. You
I
should
love that.
upgrade.
Well, that actually is why, because they're
Yeah.
designed for sound
Sometimes,
systems.
but sometimes even in the theater, I can't understand.
There's an
They've been
amazing meme of a lady who's like, "Hi, I'm your movie sound designer. I'm the one responsible for the dialogue being too quiet, the explosions blowing out your eardrums, and everything else being a gargled muffle of nothingness." Like,
so good.
that's
Deal
literally
with
the
it.
sound designer's job, is to like get you to.
Well,
maybe Christopher Nolan just
I was
couldn't
just gonna
figure it
bring up
out.
Nolan.
So he just decided to make it avant-garde because he couldn't figure it out one day. So he's
I'm
just like,
convinced-
it's a thing.
I'm convinced they're doing it intentionally.
No, they are.
You know?
They
Like,
are.
they're making it so you have to because of the nature of media these days, having to rewatch things and rewind things, and you're gonna get more and more. It's all about the algo, guy. It's all about the algorithm.
Well, I was gonna
Let's
say
go.
Nolan does do it on purpose. He's
Right.
admitted this. He makes the explosions extremely loud
Because they're supposed to be
that's so great.
disorienting.
because there's
Yeah.
'cause
And then
if
the
you were there in
dialogue
real
after
life-
is supposed to be muffled because your eardrums would be blown out, so you wouldn't be able to hear it well. Like that's actually done on purpose. It's what
Yeah.
they did in the movie Heat. That's why the
Oh, they've done a lot of movies.
the bullet sound design when they do the bank scene in Heat is extremely disorienting.
Right. Saving
It's
Private
very
Ryan, they
good.
do that too.
Yeah,
That's kind of early use of that, I guess, but still.
it's and now before, like, one of my favorite things to do is to go back and watch old movies before the advent of like HD. Like before things were filmed in HD, they didn't pay attention to like what was written on like a newspaper. It would just be some random thing written on a newspaper. It wouldn't actually have to pertain to the article. A lot of people don't realize there's whole second unit teams now whose job it is to write fake articles that show up in movies for less than 0.5 seconds.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So
I can't,
Wow.
Very
can't
cool.
imagine it takes that long.
I mean, it depends. Like, then it has to go through copyright. Like, I mean, right down to the pictures. Like, you can't use a copyrighted photo in the background.
Well, now we got ChatGPT.
Yeah, they just have the
Pop that in.
they'll just have the
Yeah, let the algo
so
do
is
it
it
for
called
me.
the Al Gore rhythm recently?
algorithm?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
algorithm.
Nice.
All right, are you guys ready to get started? Mary, are you ready?
I'm ready.
I suppose.
Let's get it.
All right, guys. So critics trash Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. The movie has a 50% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is, like I said, it's the lowest next to Eternals, which is 47%. The first Ant-Man got an 83%. The second one got an 87%. It probably got a bump because of Woman. It has a woman in it, so they're
But
like,
this one
we
was
like
supposed
this
to
one.
be like super
woman, and they don't like it. So
Well,
it's-
if the critics don't like something, then are we supposed to like it?
that's a good question. Like, that's one of those things where every
My
time
NPC brain is struggling.
I feel like it has to be lower than 50% to feel that way. Like a lot of the
Has to
movies
be
that
unanimous.
like a lot of the movies that are listed. There's 3 or 4 movies that are listed on the bottom 10 rung of the Marvel tentpole list. So like Thor: Love and Thunder, this, and Eternals are all in the bottom percentile of Marvel movies. The rest are all like second ones, like Iron Man 2 and Thor: The Dark World, which is literally, it's essentially Ambien. Don't give it to what's her name, to Roseanne Barr.
To Roseanne Barr
You don't
at
wanna-
2 a.m.
Yeah,
when
you don't
she's
want her
scrolling Twitter
you
with her
don't want
reading
her watching
glasses
it.
on.
Another thing that would be interesting to point out is it's 15% behind in pre-sale tickets, behind Thor: Love and Thunder, which didn't do all that
Thor was
great either.
Ass.
And it's also
No pun intended.
It is
Thor:
the,
Love and Thunder was ass.
Yeah, it's the first Marvel movie to be released in China since Endgame. So that will probably
Yes.
bolster ticket sales.
Well, I'm really bummed out because I honestly don't want to watch an Ant-Man movie just to get the villain, who I do like. Can't remember his name.
Kang,
Yeah.
Jonathan Majors.
Yeah, because I really liked his story in Loki and
Yeah.
that series. But now it's like, now I have to go through another boring, pointless Ant-Man movie. Because I want to
Think
learn
it'll be
about
boring
what
and
he's
pointless?
up
You
to.
think it'll be boring and pointless?
Kind of.
The funny thing is, adjusted for inflation, like the movie's not going to do a whole ton better than the other ones. But like the first Ant-Man made adjusted for inflation like $72 million in its opening weekend, and the second one made 90. So it makes like incremental growth every time. This one is projected between 96 and 120. And of course, if it fails, they can use it's a pandemic that they're literally still blaming the pandemic for everything. So we'll see where it goes. Do you have it like outside of the fact that Kang previously appeared and then now he's going to be a character going forward? Is there anything else drawing you to this movie?
I'm trying to like kind of scroll through this. What other superhero cameos are being done?
All I know, the only one I even remember was that there's going to be the Bill Murray cameo in the movie,
Which was controversial.
because Bill Murray is a
I hope
controversial
he
dude these
treated the
days.
young ladies on
No,
set well.
I can't say that there's much drawing me to this. Like I will probably see it, but I don't know, because that's my problem. I don't like, if it's important to the storyline,
Yeah.
sure, but they won't go out like say that. They won't outright and say like, hey, this is part of like the main storyline if you care, because I know we're getting Secret Wars and other kind of movies and projects coming up, which will be super cool, hopefully.
I've seen everything. Like I've seen the complaints and the praise have been weirdly across the board, meaning that one person who complimented it says that Jonathan Majors as Kang was the only reason to go see this movie. Another person said Paul Rudd is the only reason to go see this movie. So is it just accounting for tastes? Like,
Or Michelle Pfeiffer.
Like, you kind of have to think about just how many things have to go right for a movie to hit like a 98 on like a scoreboard when it's not politically motivated. Like, just think about, given that everybody's taste is different, unless they're an NPC like a lot of the critics in Hollywood. Obviously, this one doesn't seem to be politicized too heavily where it doesn't matter. Like, a lot of stuff has to go right. The CGI has to go right. The lead actor has to do his job right. The director has to do a good job. The rewrites have to be good. I don't think a lot of people pay attention. Like, why would they care? But it's like when you think about like even here, like when Wesley makes Cast Castle stuff, just how many times you have to do stuff and like how rare it is, or even when we do the show, like, right, like everyone has episodes they like more than others, and you can't always point out as to why something works, but it just does. And you think about like how many things have to come together to do good. I think it might be why I'm so much like more lenient on a lot of that, because I've been through the filmmaking process, and obviously that shouldn't
It's
contribute.
Marvel, though.
It shouldn't. No, it doesn't.
It's
It
not
doesn't
an
do it with
independent
Marvel.
film
It
by
doesn't do
any
it-
stretch.
If anything, that's more cooks in the kitchen. That's more people
Did
with
they
their hands in the
advertise
project.
during the Super Bowl for this movie?
I did not see a major
I didn't
advertisement
see
for
one.
it. The main ones were for new. I mean, I don't think they would need to by that point, because the majority of the marketing's done at that point. They advertised for. Thank you. What were the advertisements we talked about from the Super Bowl? Fast and the Furious had one.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that one. I remember the one from
DC had one
from
for
like the Christian church. That was an interesting one.
the DC had one
Oh,
for
that's right. They had I forgot what it was.
Blue Beetle?
No, it wasn't for Blue
No.
Beetle. I already forgot.
Oh,
That's how
it's on the tip
I
of my
literally
tongue.
had an article pulled up.
The Flash.
Yeah, like it's that forgettable, and nobody like.
Sorry.
And normies don't care about Ezra Miller being a criminal, anyways.
not really.
So we'll see where it goes. I don't really have a high stake in this, but that might be better for me. Like, I don't really care if it does well or not.
A lot of people don't have stake in any of these Marvel
I
movies.
generally like Paul Rudd for the most part. He was
Okay.
oddly enough, he was like the least enjoyable part of Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah, I'll kinda
because
give
he's
you
just
that.
kind of there. He's
Yeah.
he's like Rob Lowe though. He doesn't age. He does
He's like
essentially look the
supporting
same.
character in a weird
It's
way.
worrying that a lot of the Rotten scores are
Oh, Guardians of the
saying-
Galaxy. That was the one they advertised heavily. Yes.
Oh,
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah.
You're in that one even like James Gunn on his way out. Like it'd be hilarious if he just made it really bad on purpose as he like
No.
as he's leaving.
Well, that's what.
No,
that's
people
what
are gonna
it is.
cry
It's
at
like
it.
because at the end of the day, this is a business machine. You know that these stories aren't gonna like. There's no continuation because like a certain person's like, this is my last movie,
Yeah.
right? So it's like that this Guardians film, it's like almost pointless to watch because what's gonna happen afterwards?
I mean, those characters can still be brought back.
They can still
The actors will still be brought back.
Yeah, but
I mean, Robert Downey Jr. did his 3 movies pretty quickly, and then he was and then he became the one who made all other Marvel movies palatable for the next 7 years. Like he got those first three Iron Man movies were quick. Like they didn't happen like staggered over a long period of time when you really think about it.
Yeah.
Like the third Iron Man movie was done a long ways
Yeah.
before he started, guest appearing in Avengers movies
Yeah.
and then being used to give Tom Holland credibility. Which is sad. But have you seen him? Have you seen Robert Downey Jr. lately?
No.
Holy
I have.
crap.
He's
Since he went
very
vegan. Since he
Oh,
went
that-
vegan,
I saw
he
that.
has aged like 20 years.
The sun
Really?
is just beating down on his aging skin. The poor man, but
He was at Jon Favreau's.
he's also like very militant about his veganism, so I
Yeah.
don't feel bad for saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was at Jon
my
Favreau's.
gosh.
Let me see.
Jon Favreau got a star on the Walk of Fame, and he was there, and he's like bending over to touch it. He looks like he's in pain trying to touch it. Like, oh my god, it's like there's no weight in me.
I can't move.
That's what it felt like.
he's
to me.
so bald now.
Yeah. Like
Oh, my
maybe it was a
goodness.
wig before. It's just the world's best wig when he was
Wow.
in Iron Man.
When it comes to critic scores for Marvel movies, I really don't understand how critics decide what to score highly or low, because the Rotten scores for Ant-Man so far look like my criticisms of every Marvel movie I've ever seen so far. So, especially the humor being too ham-fisted. One said, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania feels like it's trying to be a Marvel movie. The jokes are played up too much. Not everything needs to be funny. And then another one said, its tone varies too widely. It's dense, weird, and messy. That is my experience of every Marvel movie,
The humor does
including
that.
Doctor Strange Multiverse
Yeah.
of Madness, which was rated way higher than this one. So I don't know. Like, I guess I'm the odd one out. I just don't appreciate these movies.
I think it's it speaks to people having subjective taste, and it could be so much as like those critics like the lead actor in the other movies and they don't care for Paul Rudd. Therefore, those criticisms that we have, which we try to distribute more evenly, are more valid to them when it's an actor that they don't feel like giving the benefit of the doubt. And I think everyone does that to an extent. There's movies I give the benefit of the doubt more. So, like I didn't like the Batman, but like I have no attachment to Robert Pattinson, but I wanted to like it more because I love Matt Reeves as a director. But you still have to be fair with it.
So is he out now as Batman?
No, he's
No.
going
They're
to
gonna do a sequel.
But
with
they're
Robert
also
It's called The Batman 2.
But they're also
Amazing.
doing Michael Keaton.
Maybe it should be Batman, the.
But neither of here's the thing. Michael Keaton will be in The Flash. That's a really good idea. Batman, the.
Yeah.
But they have to spell it out comma.
Yes.
Michael Keaton will appear, right? And there's rumors that George Clooney will appear. There's also rumors that Christian Bale will appear in it as well.
Oh, really?
The best possible outcome would be that you keep Christian Bale and he plays Batman in Batman the Brave and the Bold as the father to Damian Wayne.
This is all ridiculous. Just shut down all of DC Productions.
Don't listen to him, guys.
Why doesn't Marvel
Surge and
do-
Caper 2X are both
This is
Marvel shields. He's on the payroll.
Why
ladies
doesn't
and- I
Marvel
want to
do
see your
more
bank
Elseworld
statements.
stuff?
Why doesn't what?
Why doesn't Marvel do the same, like, more Elseworld
There's
stories?
called something different. Elseworlds is like
I mean,
a DC
if it's
trademark.
but if it's like their equivalent, like, why don't they do that?
that would have been what a lot of people think that I know that they say that the Netflix shows were technically connected to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, not in any real capacity or
Oh
even.
my gosh, this is I was looking at Kevin Feige's recent interview with Entertainment Weekly,
Yeah.
and he said, "Oh, some people like to do the homework, so we have to cater to that."
Yep.
But then another thing he announced is that they're going to be like drastically lowering their amount of shows and like spacing them out more, which is definitely needed.
Yeah, he says, I do think that one of the most powerful aspects of being at Marvel Studios is having these films and shows hit the zeitgeist. It is harder to hit the zeitgeist when there's so much product out there and there's so much content, as they say, which is a word I hate. I bet you he hates that.
He literally said,
Dude,
that's a word that I hate.
I would love to go up to him and be like, as a content creator, Kevin, I want to ask you some questions. As a Marvel content creator,
How dare you call Marvel
can you tell me?
As one of the preeminent content creators,
You're a pretty big person in the content creation space.
Which is funny because it is so interchangeable with the rest. Like
Theirs
it
is
is
more
the pink
content.
sludge
Yeah.
of content.
It is.
That's
Theirs
how I
is-
think of it.
it is literally.
Theirs is more of a content creation house than the people who made The Menu or the people who made Violent Night or
He said
any of
they're
these
at-
other movies that have
yeah,
less of a blueprint.
They're at 8 shows a year.
Yep.
Like that's wild that you're, and then you want to be above calling it content.
Yeah.
Like shut up.
You're commenting from my page. That is false advertising here. That is not me in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. My account has been commandeered, and frankly, I'm worried.
Which one of you guys stole his account?
Look, like I think we should start calling them the Marvel Content Universe.
Yeah.
Like we should
That
not
sounds
call it the
about right.
cinematic universe anymore. We should call it the Marvel Content
Yeah.
Universe.
Sounds
I think that
accurate,
would be a good
honestly.
idea.
No, because if you do that, they're gonna start getting shorts from Iron Man and TikToks from She-Hulk.
Well, they're like, oh, watch these new Gru shorts
Yeah.
on
Oh my
Disney
God,
Plus.
no.
And I'm supposed to pog.
Well,
gonna be-
No thanks.
and then they could have like their own internal civil war with those with the like not Vita Ayala, but they have like what's her name who ran Marvel Comics, and they had like their lifestyle brand part of the channel where they do
What?
like unboxing videos, and it's like literally it's cringe. So, like we could do a
Like
whole
unboxing
Marvel products.
Funko
Yeah.
Pops
Yep.
and
Yep.
okay.
Sana Amanat them
great.
would do these unboxing videos, and it's
I'd love
just
to watch that.
so bad.
And they've
Like,
got like podcasts.
I'm like doing this
For the-
from the cringe. Like we should like have them have a civil war where they're like, we're the Marvel
yeah, that'd be
content
great.
creators, and Kevin Feige's like, you can be the Marvel content creators. I'm an auteur director. That's what he is. So we'll see where it goes.
Sure.
I'm more excited to see
Okay, I
Blood
don't-
and Honey.
Now, another critic review says this lacks any hint of humor.
See?
And the dialogues are overwritten, so nobody even agrees on why they dislike
Marvel's-
it. And then the movie is just, reduced down to introducing Kang. We was Kangs.
Right.
Oh man.
It's
Yeah.
just, I mean, it's already, they're on top of the world, so it's like, it's hard because people are already going to be critical of them. So, like, I want to, just remind myself of that.
I
but
guess
it is
so.
pretty,
I guess
it's pretty
so.
brutal to
I
say
guess
there's
so.
no humor at all.
I mean, honestly,
in the whole movie.
from a lot of the Marvel movies I have watched, I have been very underwhelmed at like the quality of
Oh,
the
stop
jokes.
To me,
Lion.
Marvel
Underwhelming.
movies are just like my own personal battered housewife, and you just can't do anything
Please.
right. You burnt the dinner, honey.
There was
Get out of my
man.
face. Like, I will never
Oh,
praise
man.
them.
Yeah,
They
it's hard. It's really hard for me to give them any. If it's watchable, I'm like, wow, great, good job. Like it made something that was like I could get through this and I could pay attention to the
You
plot.
don't, you don't like Doctor Strange?
No. not
There
a
was an
fan.
amazing sarcastic
not a fan.
tweet that said, it said, Ant-Man in the Wasp Quantumania is the best Marvel movie of Phase 5. It's the best Marvel movie since Wakanda Forever. John Majors is Kang. Paul Rudd is Ant-Man. He's literally just stating facts. It is the only Marvel movie in Phase 5 so far, therefore it is the best. And it is the best Marvel movie since Wakanda Forever. So it was literally just a bunch of things that have to be true, but it's said as if it's a big praise for the film.
Wow.
Yeah, Wakanda
That's
Forever
expert
was
level.
kind
Yeah,
of...
it was
That's
incredible. It
extra
was
level.
incredible.
Was there any
Um,
point to Wakanda Forever? Like, that was a skippable movie, right? In terms of, like, the big picture?
The point.
Is there a point to
There's
any of
a
these
soap
movies?
opera
Yes.
twist at the end.
Yeah,
where-
with his son.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
has a son.
He has a
secret
son.
son.
It's like next month we'll find out that he's got a twin
That's
brother
pretty much
too.
it, though. That's all you needed to know.
And we'll find out Shuri has a twin sister.
Yeah.
Who's evil later, and she'll develop an evil weather machine like on General
Oh,
Hospital.
but we have the new Iron Man chick.
Yes. Well, nobody likes Riri Williams. That's not a thing. That's maybe
Well, the
Marvel's
media would
biggest.
have you think differently.
That's
she
maybe-
was the star of Wakanda Forever.
Ironheart and Miss Marvel are maybe the biggest the biggest cases of gaslighting in
Psyops.
Hollywood history.
Is Ironheart a part of the Marvels?
No, that would be Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, and then Monica Rambeau. I think, right?
There's one more.
I mean, maybe. I did not read Ironheart comics. I listened to people trash them, and it was all part of Marvel post 2015, which is funny because now DC is the objectively worst comic book brand, where it's just like make everything but make it gay.
Dude, they can't do anything right.
Yeah,
they absolutely
like
can't
they
do
can't.
anything right.
They can't do it. Like I don't know if maybe that's like where they bolster their ESG scores for the like we don't want to do it too much in the movies because people won't go it, but we can give you all the gayness in the comics and people.
So
will,
wait, when is Bat Them gonna happen then?
I hope soon.
Because
Well,
Batman's DC, right?
Yeah.
The animated show with
that.
Harley Quinn is
Well,
very
people,
gay.
but people like that. Like that's generally like that's on like season. That's on multiple seasons now. People
Yeah.
generally like that, but it's still a departure from that comic.
Ugly, though.
And that's a character that had its roots in a very, very adult storyline that was always going to go the way it went to because they started marketing Harley Quinn to young girls. Like there's shirts and clothes for
Kinda
Harley
weird,
Quinn that
yeah.
are for kids when that story was
Yeah.
objectively not one designed for kids. Now,
Yeah, I don't want to
you
see an
still-
actual kid wearing a shirt that says "Daddy's Little Monster."
that was the thing.
Yeah.
That was the thing.
You will.
Jeremy Harbin says, "Isn't Christian Bale coming back?" That is a possibility that he comes back. I'm assuming he's talking about for DC. I don't know if he's because he was obviously in Marvel too. Like we'll see. It would be very interesting, but I almost don't want them to ruin because if Christopher Nolan isn't directing it, I don't care if Christian Bale comes back. It won't be as good. So
That's true.
I don't need to hear his quirky. I don't need James Gunn's quirky take on Christian Bale's Batman. I don't want that. So, all right, we got some super chats.
Andrew Jacobs said, "Politically incorrect pop culture crisis is my jam."
Is that us? Is that us? Are we politically incorrect? Pop culture crisis?
Yeah, we always talk about how woke Hollywood is.
We are so anti woke here.
Wait a second. Hollywood's woke.
Dude.
Yeah.
Serge, that's where you're from.
You've been out of the loop.
What? Really? I came from there? I had no idea. Wow.
Oh,
that's crazy.
man.
Hollywood
I had
is
no idea.
so woke.
It's so woke.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It's also really nice and sunny.
I saw a great
lovely every day.
Styx Hexenhammer had an amazing video today about Barney.
Oh yeah.
He's like at one time we as a planet came together to destroy the evil monster that was the purple dinosaur, and we scattered his bones across the universe. But the evil warlords at Mattel have fetched the bones from their hiding places and
Cobbled them together into a Frankenstein
and
monster.
He talks about how him and Razor Fist would break down. It's not get woke, go broke. It's go broke and then bring it back and get woke so that you can bolster your company's
Is it
ESG
woke though?
scores.
I thought it was just animated now.
Oh, it's gonna be
animated. Yeah, but I
right.
thought they should have kept it live action.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of kids being potentially saved by not making it live action.
Ryan Reynolds
day and
is
Yeah.
Barney.
Dylan Mulvaney is
no.
So dark.
So like they're talking about like now they resurrect an old property and they make it woke so that they can bolster their company's image to stockholders on paper. I guess that would be stakeholders now. Stakeholder
Stakeholders.
capitalism,
Yeah.
right? So, I mean, that's the new play, right? Like, it doesn't matter because it's all a house of cards anyways with these financial things. But just picture, like, Barney being resurrected by, like, an evil, like, investment banker as he, like, plans to bring Mattel's stock price up.
Yeah, corporate occultism.
Which makes you wonder, you know, what are they going to do with that Barbie movie?
Yeah, for real.
What are they going to do with
Oh,
that
yeah, I
Barbie
forgot
movie?
that's a thing. Why is it
How
taking so
woke
long
is it
to
gonna
come
be?
out?
I don't know.
It's gonna
I
be
was in
good.
Venice when they were filming it. I was there that day when I saw them filming that.
Did you roller skate with
No.
Margot
No.
Robbie?
Get out of here. No.
Come
No.
on.
That was like as a rollerblader, like those pictures were going around.
It was
for
funny.
like
It was-
6
You're like,
months
it's
and
not
people-
accurate.
Yeah, well, no, I mean it is accurate to '90s
Yeah.
to what the people looked like in the '90s with the neon
Yep.
like
Yeah,
Veriflex
definitely.
blades and
Dude,
stuff. And
I want to. You
But-
should get a
Tarmacs.
giant Barbie poster for the studio.
Well, me
It's a good
and
idea.
what's going to happen is me and Mary are going to go to different movies. She's going to go to Barbie. I'm going to go to Oppenheimer, and we're going to review them at the same time, like a mashup.
Yeah, but we have to switch off.
Oppen Barbie or Barbieheimer, one of the
I
two.
like
Like,
Oppen
it's-
Barbie.
Oppen Barbie's
So
nice.
so we'll go to the and then like we'll just review them at the same time, and we'll call the review Oppen Barbie review, and we just won't acknowledge the fact that we're talking about different movies.
Nice.
Oh,
Like you'll be like, I really like
Nuclear
the part.
physicist Barbie.
Like, I really like the part where Ken came up to Barbie at her playhouse. I'm like, yeah, that was crazy the way that the two halves split, and then just boom,
exploded,
yeah, like that. That would be
boom.
great.
Big
We could do
boom.
that.
I like it.
Hobbit said, "Happy Friday, PCC."
I love
We
the-
will be having none of this.
Wait, so
It's-
I love the
Thursday.
part where Barbie goes, "I am death."
I am destroyer of worlds.
are you guys doing that split movie thing today?
No, we're going. We're going
No.
to see.
That's in the summer.
Yeah, it's in mid-July.
Yeah.
Okay.
What are you seeing today?
Winnie the
Blood
Pooh,
and Honey.
Blood and Honey.
Yeah.
Not Ant-Man.
No, we're seeing that tomorrow.
Is scheduled for tomorrow.
I don't even care about Ant-Man.
What time are you guys
I don't
going
care about
tomorrow?
7.
Nice.
Wanna
Yeah.
go?
Maybe.
Want to go?
We'll see. If
Can
I
you?
can. I don't know if I can.
You don't need to take notes.
I gotta take notes.
Don't take notes, dude.
I
It's
gotta-
Friday.
Just
Technically, it
do
doesn't
two
have to-
things at once. It's not like Ant-Man is that hard to pay attention to.
and listen to it without
I was
speaker,
just
like
gonna
without
say,
headphones.
You just hear Tim Pool in the back of the theater, just like yelling about stuff.
I'll never forget the first time like I realized the college rot had done to people's brains when somebody gave me like a critical theory answer as to why like people go into stores with like while listening to music without headphones.
Oh, why?
Yeah, oh,
Do
they're
you
like,
know
well,
the answer?
There's like, well, they were raised in an environment where they had very little control over their surroundings, so it's like a way of taking back control. I'm like, what the does that have to do? Yeah,
I don't know about all that.
Wait. What?
like they were raised in a living
wild.
situation where they didn't have
Wait,
control of
who?
their people who go into stores with music playing.
How do you know their
not-
background? What?
It
How
was,
do you know how they grew up?
They
Through,
it's a generalization, just like all parts of critical
Or
theory.
like
it's a
your-
broad, vast,
Or people
sweeping
that
generalization.
Yeah.
talk on speakerphone at
Yeah.
the store.
Yep.
Oh my goodness! And then it's like they make you feel like you're the problem.
Like you're
It's
the bad guy.
worst.
What? What? Yeah. Like they're like what? They're like on FaceTime on like while you're trying to help them.
And you know it's gonna get worse and worse because like that's like a big Zoomer thing to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
To talk
Awful.
on speaker?
Yeah, if you don't have your AirPods, like I honestly don't see kids just like using the phone regularly. It's FaceTime or AirPods.
Dustin says it's Aunt Ma'am.
Wow. Oh.
Chat.
It's Aunt Ma'am.
John Lee said, talking about Pitbull, I had to call animal control on a Pitbull running in and out of traffic today. Took them 20 minutes to come.
You know, I feel
Well,
like
did they get?
That's a pretty
did
good
they get
response
it?
time.
it's pretty good.
That's better than
Did
the
they
Evolve
get that
cops.
vermin?
They get the dog?
Nope.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, both animal control agents were taken down by the
I was
Pitbull.
thinking about like today how people adopted a bunch of like pandemic dogs and then like euthanized or
They were all
abandoned
poodles.
them.
They were all poodles, and they got rid of the golden retrievers.
What if there's just like
That's what it
this
feels
like
like.
weird like dog paradise in the woods that we don't know about, like this dog sanctuary where all the stray and
I feel like there's a
pandemic
movie about
puppies
that
went.
in the 90s. There are a couple movies about that, right?
But what?
About like the dogs. The dogs have a secret world, and they have like the secret life going on.
Yeah,
that we
yeah,
don't
the
know
secret
about.
life of pets.
Yeah.
It's literally
Yeah.
called.
Which
right.
breed of dogs would be like in charge? Do you think like huskies, German shepherds?
I don't know if they would break it down like that. You know.
Yeah, it would. I mean, Chihuahuas aren't
This
running
is
the
the
game.
scrappy
Like, come
mutts.
on, it's not gonna be a
No,
Chihuahua.
Chihuahua's got the spirit.
Yeah. I think Chihuahua. I think I'm body positive. I think a Chihuahua could definitely be like, you know, the big alpha dog of all the dogs. If you even believe in like this alpha dog reality, I don't know if I believe in that.
I don't know.
necessarily.
Chihuahua running the show is like the girl from The Last of Us running that band of
Okay.
misfits.
Good point. Good point.
True.
Did you guys ever see Homeward Bound?
Yes, I love those movies.
Yeah. I never saw. I didn't even know there were other ones past the original.
Yeah, I saw like one, and then I saw another one later, and I realized, oh, this is a series, and then I didn't really care.
The only line I remember from the whole movie is when he's like, "Get a life, get 9 of them."
You guys get the joke?
Yeah,
That's
because he
a good
says it
one.
to a cat.
Yeah, great.
No.
Get a life.
fantastic.
It's
That's
Michael J.
funny.
Fox, so it's very memorable because he has a very
Wow.
memorable voice. Get a life, get 9 of them.
Do you believe that?
Did they have 9 lives?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a good
Like,
question.
what does that even mean?
Hopefully, for Bocus's sake, yes.
Yeah,
Let us hope, right?
I hope so.
You know, people like correct me because I never spelled Bocus with a K on Instagram, so I would always hashtag it without like a
Like
How would you
Bacchus?
spell
with a
it?
C.
Oh.
Hocus Pocus.
No,
Bocus.
no. That's
No,
awful.
okay.
That's all right.
Well, I have 2
It's-
years of story posts that are Bocus is my co-pilot, and people would like come in to like correct me. I'm like, well, he's here with me, so I think I have more of a say in this.
Bocuse.
He's my, as far as I'm concerned, you know, like he's bothering me.
Yeah.
So.
I think we should spell it with an H. like a BOCHUS.
Oh,
You're all
interesting.
wrong.
Focus.
Let's do one more.
Potatoes for Seamus said, Surge, take your hat off, LOL. Make Mary some spam. Why should he
good.
make me some spam?
Wow.
Like, I went even shorter when I shaved my head, and I didn't even need to. I just did it because I was sick of my hair.
It's
I'm
so
still
freeing.
like watching The Walking Dead after Shane shaves his head.
Yeah.
And his mannerism is that he like rubs the back of his like buzzed head and then he
Nice.
walks like this.
Nice.
It's just like
I need to
yeah,
do-
he's
I need to do
confused.
that.
you got an
it's
itch.
very intense.
Do that impression again so somebody can clip that for later. Do it again.
No,
No?
I'm not gonna be your circus
All right,
animal.
it's worth a shot. It's worth a shot. All right, guys, we're moving on. So Holly Weird is Holly Weird. We all know this. Rebel Wilson says that in her Pitch Perfect contract, she was not allowed to lose weight. Does that surprise anyone here?
No, I believe it.
No?
Not at all. I mean, don't
When
you
you're
think
literally
a character,
the fat funny person, you have to keep your fat funny person size.
a character like Fat Amy and the jokes that were made at Fat Amy's expense would never even be written today, actually,
no, they would
because it's fat phobic, even if you're making fun of the characters that treat her badly based on her appearance.
Which is funny because she talks about the character in glowing terms here. She says she has a soft spot. She loves that character. Like, what if they had to like bring her back and they make like Pitch Perfect 4 Electric Boogaloo? It's not 2. They already made 2.
I mean, she
they
made
put
it
her in a
sound
Can they
like-
put her in a fat suit? And would that be fat phobic to put her in a fat
Well,
suit if
that's
they brought her
fat
back?
phobic too now.
Yes.
But it sounds like she wasn't even kept up to date on like whether there would be another Pitch Perfect, so she had to be fat on standby.
They just don't like her. They're just trying to kill her
So
off.
she revealed this on the Call Her Daddy podcast, Bleak.
I forgot about.
She
Are
said,
is that still like really popular?
It is, yeah.
Huh.
Just Alex Cooper now. She said, I couldn't lose a massive amount of weight because I was in the contract for that movie. I think it's not more than 10 pounds you can lose and not gain more than 10 pounds. You have to kind of stay at the weight that's in your contract. So it's funny that she can't gain weight either. Like, you can't be morbidly obese. You just have to be like moderately fat. So it's like comical and not pitiful.
They give her like a calorie diet with like unhealthy things, but not super unhealthy things. They're like, you can
Yeah.
eat McDonald's, but you can't eat McDonald's and Burger King.
Yeah, skip the seconds.
Like,
don't get seconds.
like no.
Where do you
like,
draw the line?
No
you know?
don't supersize.
No
No supersize.
No supersize.
Like-
yeah.
You gotta get that happy place.
It's kind of the opposite of what happened with Marvel, which is that all their actors get put under contracts and they get these like 30 personal
Yeah.
trainers, and all the men have to put on 20 pounds of muscle.
Is that also contractually
obligated? Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
obligated?
I think.
But
they-
like, how
they
do
have-
you measure? Like, you can't guarantee physical results all the time.
The what they've done
Whoa.
now is like they've eliminated the muscle mass like part of the contract, but they have to put in a certain amount of hours a day at the gym. And like, they have to, and the personal trainer is contracted through Marvel. Therefore, they report to them
Okay.
on the way that their training is going.
I see.
And it's like, you know, if you so this is what I was looking this up earlier about things that you have to do when you sign a contract with Marvel. It says, in order to become an Avenger, the MCU actors are required to complete demanding workout routines every day and maintain a strict diet. I'm picturing like there's just some poor schlep who's been hired to watch them eat and like
Yeah, sounds
make
like
sure they're not like who's literally
Well-
counting their calories for them.
Yeah, and then there are other stories that we get from like actors and actresses that play characters on like teen dramas where they say that, you know, assistant directors on set would be like, don't eat that. Like, they would like tell them to undereat.
Slap the donut out of their
So
hands.
it's kind of a double standard, right? Like, it's fine for Universal Pictures to contractually obligate Rebel Wilson to be clinically overweight, which is a health condition that can cause you to literally shave years off your life. But then if they just simply demand that you don't gain weight and become overweight, then it's considered like that's beyond the pale. Like, why is that wrong?
Isn't
Well,
that
when the characters-
or not transphobic, isn't that fatphobic in itself to say like?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen so many actresses complain that they were told to look a certain way for a role, which means not over a certain weight.
Right.
And they complain on those grounds, but then Rebel Wilson, seemingly with no resentment in her heart afterwards, was
Too nice
like
of a lady.
obligated to be 80 pounds overweight. And she lost that weight
Wow,
after
that's a
Pitch
lot.
Perfect was over. But
I'm starting to see a small like tide shift in the whole like any size is beautiful thing.
Well, yeah,
I'm starting to see
yeah,
very
true. I am
subtle
as well.
ads telling people to eat healthy and lose weight, but they don't say it that way.
Well,
because
even
that would
Rebel
hurt
Wilson
feelings.
in
They're
the-
like they say smart calorie choices. That's a catchphrase that
The
I'm
weight
hearing a
loss
lot.
industry has not been suffering for the existence of body positivity propaganda because everyone who's fat knows that something is wrong. It doesn't feel right.
No, I
Even-
disagree. I think there's 16-year-olds that literally think that being 300 pounds is okay.
Because they didn't grow
Well,
up
they think
with
it's
the
okay
people-
morally, but it doesn't mean that you're having an easy time breathing when
They have no
you get
idea.
physically
They probably just
active.
think this is life.
They didn't grow up with the people telling them that it was unhealthy. Therefore, how would they know, right?
Yeah, it's like-
it sounds like common sense to us, but if you don't actually, it's common sense because we grew up being told the common sense fact that it is unhealthy. Your bones are going to be carrying extra weight. And she
I
says
just
here,
think if you're living in pain, there's no way to deny reality.
they're on
can't tell.
Adderall. They're on Adderall and they're on,
Like, before I
on
got
mood
glasses-
stabilizers. Dude, they don't like. They're not even noticing.
Before
it
I
at
got
that age.
glasses, I was young, maybe like 7 years old. But before I got glasses, I thought that's how everyone in the world saw.
Yeah,
I
same
didn't think
here.
there was a problem. And then I
Same
put
here, I had the
glasses
same
on for the
thing.
first time, and I'm like,
Yeah, it's wild.
holy,
I
like,
could read
Well,
stuff
yeah.
from far
This is
away. I was like
insane.
blown away.
Yeah, it's
But
a
also,
complete
people,
reality
people
change.
treat you
Crazy.
different socially for being overweight,
Yeah, for
regardless of
sure.
all of this propaganda
For sure.
that tells you everyone is the same, all bodies are beautiful.
Well, we're working
people
on
don't
that.
act like that. Like men are not attracted to obese women, and then also
They
like
should be.
women self-segregate based on hotness. So if you're different from the rest of the crowd, there's no way that doesn't change your experience of life.
You don't think that the common the future awfuls of America that are in school right now aren't having token fat friends in their group because it's diverse?
Well, that's what Fat Amy was
Yeah,
in
that's-
Pitch Perfect. She was the college group's token fat friend.
And now they're going to have
put
they just
down.
have more token fat friends now because they have to be. I think I've told you guys this story before. I had a friend who was dating a girl who worked in who was skated for one of the quad skating companies. Now quads are very different from like skateboarding and
Roller
rollerblading.
skates.
It's very much a clique. A lot of
Yeah,
it,
definitely.
it's based on lifestyle because it's almost entirely female promoted, right? And they went out and they filmed like an edit one day, right? And they did this edit with their friends and they sent the stuff to their sponsor and they said, not enough body diversity, not enough black people. And they made
that's
them
very
go
true.
out and like film it with people that they weren't
You have
hanging
to
out
go
with.
like find homeless people to
Yes.
like be in your
Like,
skate
wow.
video.
and that
Amazing.
type of propaganda permeates all aspects of our lives now. So girls are growing up thinking that that's what their friend groups are going to have to look like,
Yeah.
and they're going to pick people to be in their friend group because society is telling them that's
so that you look like a college
yeah.
brochure.
so you look like
Yeah.
a college brochure.
Right.
Yep. That's
I don't
exactly
know.
right.
I think that the human brain is fat phobic, is a lot of phobic and isms, and you're never going to change that no matter how much you propagandize people. And like fat phobia is one that you really can't get rid of. You
Yeah,
really
it's really
can't get rid
difficult
of
to.
that from the human brain. Like it is proven that we think lesser, honestly, of
Even
of obese
unattractive
people like
and
that.
unattractive people.
And unattractive
Yeah.
people, like those
I think-
lookism
yeah.
and
I
fat phobia or
disagree.
whatever you want to call those things, they've always existed. They will continue to exist in the same prevalence
I disagree. It
always.
used to be a sign of wealth. The ladies used to love the fat
But
man.
even
because
then,
that
it
man-
doesn't mean-
not in a long time.
Not
It
a
doesn't
long
mean, like,
time,
Not-
but
that's not relevant to our
Riding
life
an
experience.
electric
Not our life
scooter
experience.
level.
Also,
but-
you have to also
but
remember like
it could
the
change.
but-
Was what I'm saying because it's
Totally,
it's changed
but-
before.
But something
you
that's
know?
important to note about that is like even to like so in the period of like it's often referred to as French girls, like that period of time they weren't like morbidly obese.
Yeah.
We're not talking like
Obese-
600-700 here. We're talking like
Yeah.
maybe 2.
And you've seen those
maybe
pictures,
250.
those pictures of like beaches in America in like the 70s.
It's
Yeah.
just
They're
like
all
how
cut.
people think
Yeah.
that Marilyn Monroe was like a size 16 or something. Like she
Yeah.
was a 4 at most after like in her postpartum days.
look at these
she was
pictures.
not. She was incredibly skinny.
You want to be the Rebel Wilson on the right. You do not want to be the Rebel Wilson on the left, even for health reasons.
And she lost weight so that she
80
could get rid
pounds.
of her fertility issues.
It's
Then she
also-
had a baby.
She had it through surrogacy.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That made no sense. So
Well, that's probably it's probably to donate her eggs.
She says,
That's
I
what
went to
her
see a
doctor said.
she says, I went to see a fertility doctor, and he was like, you'd have a much better chance with fertility if you were healthier, she explained. It really hit me hard because I was living a fantastic, bigger life. She lost almost 80 pounds and maintains a healthy lifestyle through diet.
Okay, so if
You
it
don't
was
say.
surrogacy,
You
then
don't
it's
say.
probably just because it would be a lot easier to donate her eggs.
Apparently.
Right?
Like, yeah,
I guess so.
but it's just like, or maybe like she couldn't have it. Like, is it possible that she couldn't?
But otherwise, she wouldn't have worded it this way.
Yeah. I mean, but it's also, it's not just that. It's
But then
also like
people
wanting to
started-
be healthier for your child so that you can be active with them.
People started fear mongering about how they think she had an eating disorder. The same thing happened with Adele
And Post Malone.
and Post Malone. It's not even just women. It's every celebrity that is like supposed to be a certain size in the eyes of their fan base that get criticized like this. But then when they gain weight, it's the opposite. Like if you gain weight, it's because you're confident. If you lose weight, it's because you're like in danger of death.
Yep.
Jacob Edler says she looks as different as Robert Downey Jr. looks. Robert Downey Jr. looks sick to me.
Yeah, he
No,
does.
no. He looks like the.
I could be wrong. I mean, it might have just been because his facial hair was
Well,
He
uncut.
looks
looks
like one of those
malnourished.
guys you'd see in like a New York like loft, like an art studio. Like he's got bald, he's got those colorful glasses now, clean shaven.
He looks malnourished.
No, he looks okay.
He goes by Astaire.
What he looks like? How?
Does
what's
he
his
really?
name? Howie.
Oh, thank God.
Mendel.
Is that his name?
I
How-
don't know.
this is
What
how
guy
we
are
do
you
it.
talking
Soul.
about now?
This is how we do it. That Howie
He's
Mandel.
bald.
That's
I think
Montel
yes,
Jordan.
He is. That's well, yeah, but I mean,
Yeah, Howie
Howie
Mandel.
took
Yeah.
that.
That's what he looks like now.
He took that phrase, didn't he? Didn't Howie Mandel take that
Unless
to,
you think
to do
Howie
a TV
Mandel
show?
also looks
I don't
like.
know. I don't think so.
Yeah, there's a TV show
No.
that Howie did.
Did he?
Like, yeah,
Oh.
for real.
This is how we do it. Was Montel Jordan?
Yeah.
There's a
Originally,
whole
yeah.
genre of like pop rap and like 90s
late
R&B
90s, or early 90s
that's
rather.
got like a second life thanks to TikTok and
Yeah. And the club. Yes,
Yep.
very true.
Look, for her health, this is good, but is there a lawsuit that could have come? Like, what if she dies
Right.
because of her health reasons, and some relatives like, look, you wouldn't let her lose the weight?
Well, was she in breach of contract?
Well, like she would,
That's
like,
all that matters.
yeah. Is it like, was it
Hollywood,
like
that's it.
wrong? Like, could they be sued for wrongful death for like a doctor being like, you need to lose the
Well,
weight? She's
maybe
like, I
that's-
can't. I gotta make this movie.
Maybe why there's this push to like actually make people believe that being super overweight and obese is healthy. That way
Yeah.
they aren't held accountable. Maybe it's a secret like
Maybe.
push
Maybe you
from-
can convince people that it's possible to be overweight and healthy, but you cannot convince people that being overweight is hot.
Was it healthy at any size? Isn't that what the phrase is?
That, well, I'm saying
Honestly-
clearly
Beautiful
her
at any
fertility
size.
doctor didn't buy that because he
Yeah,
said you'd be
totally.
healthier if you lost the weight.
He sounds like a bigot.
I honestly think if
Sounds like a
if they
bigot.
continue, if like people continue to become bigger and bigger, and that becomes the norm, people's preferences are gonna change, unfortunately.
Well, I feel like they're trying to like run a psyop about like dad bods right now, which like is a debate I
Definitely.
couldn't care less about. But it's just I wonder why are you pushing it so hard?
Yeah, and where do you think the word thick comes from? Like that, there's
With
definitely
two
like,
C's.
Yeah, a couple, 6,
3 or
7
4,
C's.
yeah.
A little more than that.
There's nothing worse than just an absolutely enormous like truck of a woman using
Oh.
thick in the wrong context.
Truck of a woman.
who just looks like
great.
the Titanic and then appropriating thick because
thick,
she's disgusting.
thick is like a little bit chubby, like
that's
like
good.
just a little bit, you know.
I think it can
Yeah.
mean a lot of different things to a lot of different
It depends on
people.
the
no,
amount.
see,
Depends
that's
on
the
the
type
amount
of
of
that's the
seeds.
type of
That's wrong.
I haven't
wishy-washy
seen-
reality I'm not down
Even
with.
within like a healthy weight spectrum, I haven't seen people agree on what that means.
Okay, would you consider Ice Spice overweight or? Yeah.
She's probably not.
Dreamology
consider
says
her
thick
thick?
with
Yeah.
a space
Yeah.
between all the letters. Even that isn't fair.
Wow.
No.
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying.
Like
I see what you're saying.
Lizzo is not thick. She's just fat.
No, Lizzo's pretty thick.
She's just
No,
fat.
no,
I mean,
think
if
she's
your
fat.
waistline is thick, something about you is thick. but-
Lizzo's
Yeah.
kind of just her own Lizzo shape. She's kind of
I mean,
Making everyone believe that being overweight is healthy is just a way
Yeah,
to like
that's-
abolish gender.
yeah, do what you want. I think do whatever you want to do. If you want to be fat, go ahead. But
Makes
you should
everyone
not
infertile and it makes everyone look the
Be,
same.
go for it. But you should not be. I don't think you should be allowed to push it and say things like healthy at any size because it's just not true.
My weight has fluctuated at points, like depending on time of year or like medication back when I was still doing drugs and stuff like that. And there was like a hilarious comment on a video of mine once where somebody says, "Wait, you used to be skinny?" It's like, I read that and I'm just like,
Body shame.
but you know what?
Shame.
I didn't complain to this person and say they were wrong. I took the insult in stride and went on about my day, as everyone has
Brett
to.
Dasovic opens up about being body shamed on social media.
In fact,
Dude,
like
it's so hard to be me.
Serge and I were walking out the other night, and Brett walked by. I was like, "Hey, you trying to go pump some iron?" And he like gave it a good. He considered it.
He gave more.
No, I didn't.
More
Did he?
consideration.
He gave
than
it
you
a
would.
more than once over.
More
I've never
consideration than
seen
you
Brett
given it.
consider something. Never.
No, I didn't think about it for a
Hey,
second.
there's a pause.
It's never happened.
I think I was looking at the thermostat actually.
And you're like, no.
It's,
There's like a light
that-
refraction on
and
the
that
wall.
that has fallen off. I never went to the gym. I had weights at home, and
Right.
I just don't here. So it's like it's different now. And
Yeah.
but I skate as much as I ever did. So it's like I stay in shape because I get enough exercise every day. And at this point, skating now is not even about exercise. It's literally to keep me from falling asleep at 7 p.m. and sleeping from 7 to 10 and screwing up my sleep cycle for the rest of the night. So I go out and skate to prevent myself from napping.
What do you just like crash then at 10?
No, I keep saying if I can make it up from after 10 p.m., I'm up till 3 a.m. no matter what. But if I fall asleep before 10 p.m., I wake up at 1 in the morning,
And you're
and then I'm
screwed.
up for the rest of the night. So I have to like make it to 3 a.m. so that I can wake up at 8:50 or 9.
I've been in those weird cycles like that.
That's my life. I mean, that's not even like a cycle. That's like how I am all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah, that's
It's
what I mean.
that or worse.
Yeah,
meaning
totally.
like going to bed at like 5 or 6.
That happened to me after we went to film that protest last weekend. It was like 7
Oh, yeah.
o'clock, 8 o'clock,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
we got back. I'm just like done.
Yeah,
They're saying
true that.
gas so thick. Yes, that's right. That's exactly right. With
Gas so
there's
thick.
not enough C's there. I only see two C's there. I'm clearly
Yeah,
worth.
come on. Give me like 5 or 6.
Turd.
Seven
I'm
at
worth
least.
gas
way
a thing.
more.
Yeah,
more
at least
C's
eight. At
than
least
that.
8 is what I would do. At least 8. Come on. Just be nice, guys.
Look, like, do you guys have any issue with like? Does your weight fluctuate at all, or do you stay roughly the same size most of the time?
Generally speaking, I think it's definitely fluctuated in times for me. I've been trying to put on a lot more just calories in general,
Yeah.
lifting, because apparently that's supposed to help. It's helping, I guess.
I
but
need to, dude. I've gained like 20 pounds over this holiday season.
the freshman
It-
20.
It's been
past
bad.
freshmen.
It's been bad, man.
Yeah.
Um,
Hey, when you want to go to the gym, just holler at
dude,
me.
you go to the worst. You go to the woke gyms.
No, you go to the woke
What
gym.
the hell is
No,
the?
I
What is
don't.
the woke? Are
Planet
all
Fitness is the
Planet
woke
Fitness.
gym.
Oh, okay,
yes.
okay, so
And
yeah.
he was trying to get me a membership there, and I
Those
went
are
in
my
there, and I was like,
favorite-
"Ugh, I'm not doing this.
my
I go to
favorite-
Anytime Fitness.
Dude, I think I'm gonna get stabbed at your gym.
Anytime Fitness, there's no one
It's
there.
woke and you're gonna get
There's
stabbed
no
there.
one there.
My
There's no one
favorite
there.
is like
It's the worst.
the TikToks that are like meanwhile at Anytime Fitness, and it's just people acting ridiculous at Anytime Fitness. Like the dude's like bench pressing
Yes.
the bench press.
I don't know what any of the equipment is called or how it's used, but I'm still gonna laugh at them.
It's
for
sure.
misusing it.
but it's it is what it is.
I love like the TikToks where it's like Sigma male grind set
Yeah.
music to
Yeah, I
like
love that.
dudes just absolutely misusing
Yeah.
gym equipment.
Or it's like guy walks into the gym and it's like a dude bench pressing 2 separate bar. Like
Yeah.
And it's just like, and then he just turns around and walks out.
That's great.
Or
I love Anytime
or-
Fitness. I'm a big fan.
or the guy, it's like somebody made like a Photoshop of a guy squatting 2 squat racks on like the side of the bars.
You won't see that at Planet Fitness. You'll only see that at Anytime Fitness.
I don't
That's the
need
best
to
part
see-
about it. It's
that
the
would be
best
the
part.
worst.
I used to have a 24-hour fitness membership, but since they closed their doors, and I think some locations, I don't know if all of
You
them
know
are
how
closed.
annoying it would be to get off work, and it's like 2 in the morning, and you just want to go work out.
I do.
Thank
That's what I do every day. It's the best.
And
It's the
there's
best.
someone benching a bench press.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's what I do. I go bench presses. That's what I do.
It's a gorgeous morning.
It's great.
I think it's super chat time.
All right.
This one was pretty chill.
Yeah, it's chill this week.
Caper2X said, "Happy Monday. Let's not confuse Brett, or he will report us to Imperial HR Dolores. Howdy, merry gentlemen."
Well, no,
Make my marvel.
I'll report you to whoever the new YouTube CEO is.
Oh yeah, he mentioned it.
Goofer Trooper said, "It's a wonderful Friday to watch PCC. Let's go."
Dude,
Happy Thursday.
someday, you guys.
Happy Thursday.
Alistair Payne said the Quartering put out a couple of videos about Melanie Mack and a stalker situation she's been dealing with. The stalker
sure.
had court papers served to her on Valentine's Day. Kind words and prayers, please. That's crazy.
Hopefully she's okay. That's awful.
Yeah, he like believed that they were gonna meet and get married, and she had never spoken to him before.
So erotomania, like that's crazy.
Wait, he's not even from this country?
What?
I don't know.
You said, I thought you said he's from Romania.
No, erotomania.
No.
Like he imagines he has a relationship with her when they've never actually spoken.
That she like sends him secret messages somehow. Yeah.
Wow.
That's weird.
Like I said, I would never ever want to be a girl on the internet. I'm sorry, I would not.
I'm just saying, like, if the thing is, if I have a stalker ever, it's gonna be them. They are gonna be the ones getting a restraining order against me, not the other way around. Wyatt Kaldenberg.
Somebody somewhere was just like, "Don't threaten me with a good time." Right?
Wyatt Kaldenberg said Old English had 4 genders: male, female, neither, and both. When Christianity took over, they changed it to 2 genders. Man used to mean person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well,
I don't know anything about Old English, so
We should be weremen.
Seems pretty woke,
to
be honest.
let's go fisher theming. Like, let's go be fisher them somewhere.
Fisher them, I agree.
Let's-
I am
Fisher
into
them.
fisher them. I like that term fisher them. It's better than fisher person. If
Like-
we're gonna use that, let's just say fisher thems. Fisher theys. I'm cool with that.
Well,
Whatever.
Is his terminology there? Like, would fisher person just be the gender neutral term, and fisher them is the non-binary term?
Why not? Why not things like fisher peeps?
I like fisher peeps.
Fisher peeps. Yeah. I don't know. I don't actually know. It's
Fisher
that's a really good
Price
question.
could make a fisher them product.
Whoa. Now
Let's
it's
go.
deep.
Go.
Now it's
Austin
deep.
Brown said Melanie Mack would make a great guest for your show. Former GameStop TV streamer who now does anti-woke entertainment, video game cultural commentary.
GameStop TV. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
I forgot about that. Do they
She
still
would.
do that?
I watch some of her stuff. I watch her video game stuff because I don't follow the video game industry, so I have to watch the
Go
videos.
tell her to
Yep.
slide into my DMs on Twitter.
Video games are cool. No one plays video games around. Well, some people play video games around
People
here.
here play video games.
Yeah, not me.
Serge hates them guys. Like no cap. Like this is on
He
job.
doesn't just not play video games. He
Like no,
hates
he
them.
actually hates video games.
It's not enough to just
Why do you hate
to
video
not
games,
play video
Serge?
games. You have to
I
be
don't hate
actively.
video
Yes, you
games.
do.
No?
No, I don't.
Well, any of the new games he hates.
Yeah, I mean,
See?
I don't think there's
Yeah.
any game after Modern Warfare 2 original release. Every other game after that is just kind of like not as fun, But I also just don't play video games, so
He loves VR.
no, I don't.
He likes VTubers.
yeah, I'm a big VTuber guy for sure.
Okay. Who's the best one? Which one should I watch?
It's a Gundam probably.
It's
I
a
enjoy
VTuber?
it. Yeah, I think so.
Oh, unironically, you do. Okay.
Yeah.
Caper2X said, go and watch it, all 4 of you and Mary's snacks.
Uh,
What?
okay.
Watch what?
Well, I mean, are they talking about the fact that Mary is a serial snack sneaker inner?
Oh, yeah.
What's the most ridiculous snack you've ever?
She snuck in sushi.
I've taken in an
That's good.
entire
That's
like
good.
Chick-fil-A meal
Okay.
with my drink in my purse, and it didn't spill.
It's
Nice.
like you can hear the ice shaking
didn't
in the
spill.
as
Have
she's
you ever
like
done a
walking.
pizza?
No, I'm not
Pizza
really.
is-
I don't like
that's
pizza
tricky.
enough that I would sneak it into a
Yeah.
movie theater, but
Aw,
Pizza stuff.
pizza's so
um,
good. I could go for some
You
pizza.
can actually-
I'm gonna do it again today because I don't care. And
I'm picturing like somebody's walking in. There's just a square box shape under their shirt.
It's like I'm pregnant. Leave me alone.
It's a bulletproof vest. I'm a big deal.
What are you, ableist? Nate Parrott said, I don't think we should enjoy Ant-Man because of poor critic reviews. A part of me believes they see the shifting of the tides and are trying to get ahead of the inevitable change. What change, though?
The change
That, like, the public isn't going to like Marvel movies anymore or go see them anymore?
I mean, it's already on a downslope as far as popularity, but that's because they don't
Because all
have...
sequels have lower viewership generally than
Inherently,
the originals.
Well, all of them- no,
and
all of the-
every Marvel movie is technically a
all of the
sequel.
Ant-Man movies have made more money as they've gone. They make more money.
The
as
second
they go.
Ant-Man
Yeah,
movie
made
made
more.
more? Oh.
Yeah, no, it's the opposite. The problem
Well,
is
then they really messed up.
the problem is they don't have a Tony Stark. They don't have somebody that's actually.
someone leading brings the whole thing in behind them.
There's nobody that nobody actually gives a crap about Carol Danvers, and nobody actually likes Brie Larson except for Dane.
I like
Dane's
Brie
the only
Larson.
He's lying. Don't listen to him, guys. He's making that up. He's just being contrarian today.
Is Paul Rudd still Ant-Man?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I like Paul Rudd. I think he's
I guess
okay.
is
He's
Tom
okay.
Holland technically the head?
He's a new.
Tom Holland's like 5'8". Like they need like a full grown man.
No, isn't Doctor Strange the head?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, you'd
Cumberbatch.
consider Cumberbatch.
Or
Botch.
Or the Hulk.
I say Batch, but he said Botch,
Actually,
so.
it might be
I
the
don't know how
Hulk.
his name is pronounced.
Who?
What's the Hulk?
Mark Ruffalo is not the head of anything. Mark
No.
Ruffalo is the head of Suck. He's like
He-
B tier.
Like-
he's C tier at least.
What if like in the next Hulk movie he just like destroys She-Hulk and like that's the way they announced they're shutting down the project?
Unknown says adjust for inflation. The numbers I gave earlier were adjusted for inflation, so they were actually lower. But the numbers I gave were so Ant-Man 1 opened to 72.2 million. That's adjusted for inflation. Ant-Man 2 90 million adjusted for inflation. And today the movie's predicted to open to 96 to 120 million this weekend. The first one made 623 million worldwide. The second one made 772. So the domestic totals were low.
Yeah.
For those movies here, there was like 227 million for the first one and 258 for the second. Like, not a whole ton in comparison. So, this is what it is.
Lily Ramsey said, emptying a gift card. Love the show.
Thank
It's
you.
exactly
Nice.
$4.03.
Thank you.
Guys,
Oh,
if you have any
nice.
like miscellaneous
We'll take 'em.
Visa gift cards
We'll
to
take 'em.
empty
Gibbs.
on this show, please
Gibbs.
do. JWT said, as a lifelong DC mark, I'm begging them to stop making movies, period.
Well,
Wait,
then do what? The comics suck now. So what are they supposed to do? Just not exist? Like, I would like them to do something good. I'm not saying that they're capable of it right now, but I liked the Suicide Squad movie, the James Gunn Suicide Squad movie. I enjoyed Peacemaker, except for the weird environmentalist propaganda at the end. Like, they can do stuff well once in a while.
Chris Garcia said, Brett, off topic, but thoughts on Uncut Gems? Wasn't the biggest fan, but I feel like I wasn't paying enough attention to understand it.
I thought it was okay.
If any of you are still asking who Julia Fox is,
Oh, I'm so sick of people asking.
there's your
Who the
answer.
hell
She
is
was in
Julia
Uncut
Fox?
Gems.
Yeah, like take a Xanax before you watch it to balance out the. I'm just
How-
kidding.
how
That's a
authentic
joke.
it is.
Don't do that. Like it's too fast paced for me.
It's very,
Like,
very fast.
It's a very anxious pace that I'm not a
Yeah.
huge fan of. It's something for a certain type of audience. It's just not for me.
Final question though, like,
Who is Julia Fox?
is Uncut Gems referring to circumcision?
No.
It's about being Jewish, right?
Oh my god.
I think there's a little bit.
The movie is about being
Just
Jewish.
slightly more
A
than that.
little bit more than the.
They're still asking who the hell Julia Fox
I don't
It's
know.
not a lot. It's,
all
it's
I
a little
heard
bit more
about all I heard about the movie is just that it's like about being Jewish and Adam Sandler being Jewish.
I mean, I would say it's a little more about the movie than being Jewish, but I can see where they got that.
Okay.
I can see where they got that.
I had questions.
Now they're like, I already took his Xanax. Like, I was kidding, guys. It was a joke.
Look what you've done.
It was a joke.
Oh no.
Let's read one more and then we'll move on.
Waffle Sensei said, Mary, Shane did nothing wrong in Walking Dead except leaving Otis to die. Please opine. You're just wrong. I get that, like, he cucked Rick thinking that Rick was dead, but then when Rick came back, he's still trying to steal Rick's family from him because he's jealous and pathetic and couldn't make a family of his own before the world ended. He's just jealous that Rick is a bigger man than him.
Do you see that there's actually just a thing posted today where there's a picture of Andrew Lincoln on the set of the still untitled Rick Grimes spinoff, and people are like, that's still being made? What the hell?
No,
Like, they're still doing that.
I never understood his departure from the show. It's just like a helicopter shows up and we never see him again.
He wanted to spend time with his family. The actor did. That's
I know
they had
that,
to, like,
but
they
it's
had to
like-
figure out an ending quick.
What's the ending?
Yeah.
He sees a helicopter. That's it? Cool.
All right, guys, we're moving on. So, Yellowstone's back in the news. This is an article from the Daily Caller. It says, is Yellowstone a conservative show or is it a liberal psyop? Thoughts?
My question is, can anything these days be something other than either extreme? can it be neither?
I think that's the point here. Like
Can a show be neither conservative nor a
Apolitical.
liberal psyop?
I think the biggest argument here is, and I'm not going to talk as much about Yellowstone. I want to talk about Taylor Sheridan Productions as a whole. I think what it is that we live in the Marvelification of society, and people aren't used to writing with any level of nuance anymore. So, in my opinion, to see a character that's written anywhere to the right of Stalin with even the slightest amount of nuance is shocking to a lot of people.
It's just so ridiculous.
To explain this topic first, which we didn't do, a lot of people are posting pictures of the fictional governor John Dutton on Twitter with quotes that are like kind of TPUSA talking points. Like, I would say they're trying to argue Yellowstone is to conservative audiences what Turning Point USA is to the conservative movement, and that's a lot of people have said they're diluting.
It's not a
they're
conservative
diluting
show.
the ideas. They're basically huffing the fumes of conservative red state America
It's like
and
fetish, it's
rural
cowboy-
America.
Yeah, rural fetishism in a sense.
And like
I feel that a lot.
using these familiar aspects
familiar setting.
this
etc.
familiar setting
Yeah.
to dilute the actual values that people living this lifestyle hold.
Yeah,
So
totally,
they're posting pictures of John Dutton, and for instance, one of them said, "I'm a firm believer in the First Amendment, but we need common sense hate speech laws to prevent white supremacists from harming our trans children." So I haven't seen the show, disclaimer, but I saw people along with this slew of memes posting a couple scenes from the show, specifically with Kelsey Asbeal, who plays Monica. And it basically, one of them was her lecturing a blonde jock student in a lecture hall about his, power and privilege, and it's very heavy-handed. It's what I would say is not nuanced at all.
In the
Not
later
nuanced.
seasons, yes.
And another scene they showed was the same actress walking around a boutique in, like, is this in a reservation, right? Is it a reservation?
Yes.
And so she's walking around this boutique that's owned by a couple white women, and then they like assume for literally no reason that she's shoplifting, and then they call the cops on her. Because she's Native American,
I
presumably.
doubt that.
Here's the
That'll
point.
happen.
Taylor Sheridan himself says it's not a conservative show. So the argument is
Well, if
null
he
and
said,
void.
why would he say that?
Why does
even
that
if
have
it
to
were
be anything? Just make a
he's-
friggin'
if-
show.
like
He
why?
says
Everything is
He says they
politics.
refer to it as a
know.
conservative show or a Republican show or a red state Game of Thrones, Sheridan says, and I just sit back laughing. I'm like, really? The show's talking about the displacement of Native Americans and the way Native American women were treated and about corporate greed and the gentrification of the West and land grabbing. That's a red state show?
Why does everything
The
have to be
gentrification of
like,
the West.
Everything.
See,
People
it is about browbeating the audience.
People
Wow.
are starved for
Wow.
like they're so used to any character just being like what you said, the ladies calling the cops on them. That's one example, but not every character in these shows, whether it's Tulsa King, whether it's Mayor of Kingstown, going all the way back to Sicario, meaning his movies first, they're written with a level of shades of gray that is just missing from most of cinema now.
Well, all the woke stuff that's been just thrown at us for the last however many years. It honestly, like, I don't even care what the take is anymore. Like, if it's political at all, if it's a take at all, I'm just like, I'm so tired of it. I'm
Yeah,
like, please just
yeah.
tell a story. Stop trying to push your own personal beliefs.
There's always narrative. There's always narrative
What-
or
yeah.
counter narrative.
They need to stop looking
It's just so
for-
annoying. It's really frustrating.
And people need to stop looking for validation from these shows.
Oh,
Okay,
that's you.
I think
know.
that you're being far too lenient toward this trend because you like Taylor Sheridan, honestly. Like,
I don't like Taylor Sheridan. I like
well,
stuff
you
he's
like
made.
his work. That's
I
my
like
point.
some of his work. Yeah.
Yeah, like
That doesn't mean I'm being lenient. It's just
it
saying
means
I'm
that while he is doing this, like the name of the Taylor Sheridan game is to make something old school Americana themed. Whether you want to call that right wing or conservative or patriotic is like up to you, up to your interpretation. But that is what he does with Hell or High Water, with Sicario, with 1883, with 1923, with Yellowstone, with Tulsa King, all of it.
All seems
It is definitely like he knows the audience that is going for these shows, and he reviles them.
Yeah, it's weird.
Reviles them how? Because he doesn't agree, because of that statement that I just read?
Not because of his statement. I'm saying like the feeling between Taylor Sheridan and the audiences that are generally drawn to what he makes is one of animosity, and I don't want to just sit here and deny that. Like this is one of the interpretations of this meme trend. It hits on what Hollywood has played off of for a very long time. People are so starved for anything that so much as nods to their red state American existence that they will accept corrupted stories that ultimately revile and betray them. So you're like huffing the fumes of old American values that have died and lost steam long ago, and using that familiarity to then subvert and corrupt the people watching.
I just think people aren't used to like people are just used to Marvel movies, and they're used to things that just have far less nuance in the storytelling. Or at least
the people watching Yellowstone aren't Marvel fans. Like that's the audiences aren't the same.
Okay.
You know,
there is overlap though, but I would.
There's always overlap, but it's
generally
the target
agree.
audiences are different.
I would
Like my parents watch Yellowstone.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like Hannah Claire Bermuda's parents watch Yellowstone, from what I understand.
It appeals to a lot of older people.
I've watched like the first season or two of
I've
just
watched with my
Yellowstone,
parents.
not 18 or not whatever, however
18.
spin-offs there are. But no, I liked it, but then it does get to those drawn out parts where they're trying to obviously push a narrative, and it has nothing to do with the storyline anymore. It's just like a commentary on what's going on in like the world.
It's just like the bait and switch that The Last of Us did with episode 3. They start off with, you know, prepper Ron Swanson, basically.
Yeah.
And then it's like, boom, he's gay, and they're making out in a strawberry field, and none of this was in the game, but you're a bigot if you don't like it. Like, that's what I'm talking about. They start with, you know, something you can identify with, and then pull the rug out from under you, because these screenwriters do hate ordinary people, and they hate the type of people that are portrayed in a show like Yellowstone.
It sounds like they're either they're not talented, they're bored, or I don't know what the case is. Because you know what? Fine, you want to make them gay? Cool, that's your little twist, but it doesn't need to be 50 minutes of it, right?
Yes, it does.
Whether it's the characters
Yes, it
being
does.
gay, or if it's, you know, showing how Native Americans are unfairly treated by cops on reservations, or some, you know, lecture about American history and slavery. All of it is inserted intentionally into these Sheridan products, or ones you would compare to Sheridan's
It's
films
a
or
grift. It's
shows.
essentially a huge
Well, I
grift.
always
It's specifically to target the people that are drawn to these shows.
So I always bring up Sam Bankman-Fried. Now that seems like it's not related, but it is, because when he got arrested, there was text messages that leaked, and he's like, "This woke thing that we do, we all know it's nonsense. We all know it's BS, but it's a thing we have to do when you're in this sphere." And I'm like, that one text told me how smart that guy was, right? It's like he knows exactly what he's doing, and he's playing the part.
Pro-grifter.
Yeah,
Tokyo
yeah,
Drift.
100%. So it's like Sheridan knows what he's doing, and I think that's the other thing that's like also annoying, is that I can tell you that this stuff isn't coming from a place that's genuine. It's not like there's a real problem in the world that someone wants to address and wants to bring attention to. Like, right, like
I
with
mean, maybe Sheridan feels this way.
maybe he
but
does. I
it's
can't, and I'm not him. But
not
like,
all
for
of them.
example, someone, I forget the guest, he went on Joe Rogan and said there's these mines in Africa where they're mining cobalt, and like no one's talking about it. So I went there, I documented it, and I just want to bring attention to it. Right? He didn't go and make a movie and have someone like make a comment about it. He didn't write an episode about it. He's just like, guys, look at this thing that's happening. You know? So it's like
it's not like a Refinery 29 feature video that they post on Twitter.
Yeah,
you know?
it's tiring because it's exhausting and it doesn't matter. It makes no impact.
Yeah, I think that the media, like using mass media to control public opinion, we talk about it, but like in practice, Sheridan is what it looks like. That's what that's what I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and the other part that's so frustrating is the rest of the show is so well done. So it's like, you know what he's capable
He's
of.
great at what he does. That's the catch, is like, why can't we just have someone
It's got to be money.
with the artistic,
The grift.
yeah.
yeah, like the artistic abilities of a Taylor Sheridan, but without the contempt.
It's got to be the one thing I can think of is like maybe he wanted to do like 30-minute shows. I'm looking at you, Brett, who likes short entertainment. Right? Maybe he wanted to do 30-minute episodes, but NBC or whatever network it was, like, no, we need 45 out of you. We need extended content. So he's like, you know what, fine, just hire something that'll check a box so we seem more woke, and then maybe we can win some awards. Like people know what they're doing. It's a money maker, unfortunately.
Look at the idea of him having 1883 and 1923.
That's
and
ridiculous. Like, you want to complain about sequels, but no one's talking about this.
It's the new thing.
4 sequels,
It's the new thing.
all at the same time.
We ask, like, how do they not know what the audiences want? But they do know what the audiences want. They go against those desires on purpose. It's very easy to tell because Sheridan's work is incredibly popular. The popularity of his work shows the amount of power and control he has over that audience, because they desperately want
Anything.
honestly, anything that reflects it, like authentic
That's
American.
at that level, that has that kind of look to it.
Story.
Stuff I like from him aren't even those shows. I liked Sicario 2, and I liked Tulsa King, which has nothing to do
Those
with
are also being indicted in this meme. It's not just Yellowstone.
Sicario doesn't even have to. Sicario is about the war on drugs and in the military-industrial complex.
But they're talking about his track record and the audience that the loyalty that he has gained from an audience that in reality he and his cohort despise. That's the point. It's not that any of those individual projects.
Where does the idea that he despises them come from? Like,
what I'm saying is he is a TV screenwriter, and all TV screenwriters that are accepted, that have a comfortable perch in Hollywood right now, do despise ordinary people. I'm not going to, assume the best when the same thing is not done for me.
Yeah, like, your reality is not their reality.
Yeah.
They cannot understand. You cannot connect with the audience anymore. Like, these people that are writing these
neither
shows,
side wants storytelling that tells both sides of the story anyways.
Yeah,
not really.
They want
both stories want their worldview reinforced.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think that a bunch of, people, like, I don't think all of these red state Americans are looking to watch some corny ass show that affirms everything they think and comes up with, very contrived storylines where, like, good guys have guns or something.
Do you think they're paying that close attention? Like
whether or not they're paying close attention, people just want good storytelling.
Yeah.
And it's to the extent that Taylor Sheridan is amazing at doing that, he is, it's only weakened by the messaging that the subversive messaging that is interwoven with it.
Also, part of it is he spread himself too thin now.
I don't get how you do that. I don't understand how you.
He's not writing. He's not writing.
I know.
He's producing most of them.
I know,
So,
but he's got
his name is attached to it the same way that like a Steven Spielberg is attached to, or Jerry Bruckheimer is attached to everything he makes. Right? Like, I disagree with you guys on a lot of it. Like, I don't think that having these elements in these stories makes them inherently bad. I get what you're saying, and I do think that part of the problem is that conservatives jump to label these shows as something that's for them, which is dorky.
No, I don't think it should be for anybody.
I
don't think
I agree, but I'm saying, but it is being done. Whether we think it should be or not, that's not the fact of the matter. It's being portrayed that way.
I don't think conservatives have a claim to the show. I don't think liberals have a claim to the show. I don't think it should be political at all.
Yeah.
I think there's real struggles and real problems that a family out in Montana in 2022 or whatever, in 1923 and 1893, there are real problems that they deal with, right? But instead, like, they can't just tell you about the Native American problem. They have to actually create a character in the show and belittle that character to get the point across. They don't want...
And make her an academic girl boss.
Yeah, Reservation Dogs.
They don't want to actually help anything or solve a problem. They want to seem justified. They want to seem holy and great. And it's disgusting. And the more it happens, the more annoying it gets. Sure, maybe... it's an innocent little thing he did, but you know what? It's the 300th time we've seen it.
It's not even that I think Taylor Sheridan has done this consciously or
They
that
point that
he-
out in the third. They said they don't know if that was
Yeah.
necessarily his concept. But that's the thing. We're indicting his. You're saying that he despises or he thinks less of us because we're a lower class than them. That's what we're saying here. And I don't know.
We're pointing
if-
out a trend that Sheridan is part of, not a Sheridan problem.
But you said because you said you're not going to give him the benefit of the doubt, right? So we're not going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But I don't know. Like at this point, I'm still one of those people who said, if you like it, you like it. Like I don't care about Yellowstone past. Like I didn't watch past season 1. I loved 1883, and I thought 1883 was a beautifully depicted story of that family's journey. I thought that Sicario was a story that told shades of gray that proved that everyone involved in the drug trade, whether it's the U.S. government that's combating it, whether it's the cartels. And granted, that was 2015. That was before TDS and everything that was going on there. Now we're getting into season 5 of Yellowstone. We're getting into 1883, 1923, Mayor of Kingstown. It's not him writing all this. So he's got his base level of knowledge, which is right about these places, which are not where most of these stories are being told about. Most of the stories are being told about people in New York, DC, LA, Chicago, like 10 places, right? So you've got that. And people are starved for anything that fits even a modicum of what their worldview is. And in a world now where every network television show that has anybody from middle America or the South saying, oh, yeah, I'm a racist piece of shit. Like that's what they say. And they see any amount of nuance. Yes, you can give the extreme examples of the ladies in the beauty shop and these things. But in general, most characters are written as shades of gray. The outlying examples are the exceptions, not the rules. I don't believe that that's an indictment that the show is this or that. I'm just saying that we are a country that is starved for content that speaks to both sides of the aisle. Does it do it well? You're going to get opinions from across the spectrum on whether that's true or not.
You don't need to, but I think the place that I'm coming from is, one, the examples of the work that you're using to defend him are older. The stuff that he's put out more recently.
Tulsa King is not older. 1883 is not older.
1883 is part of the Yellowstone.
But it's
thing.
but I'm talking about it in the context of like, look, these are examples of ones that are done well. Sicario,
No one's
yes,
saying
Sicario's
he hasn't
older.
done
Yeah.
these shows and movies well.
I'm
So
not
let's get-
saying-
okay,
Of course,
then
does them well.
Then let's get back to the question: is it a psyop? Like, do you think? So
He's
do you think
tapped
it's
into an audience desire
Okay.
that is there, and maybe he's not.
So he's filling a
maybe
market.
he, with the volume that is coming out right now, is not writing all of it and can't possibly
Yeah.
pay that close attention to everything. But without Taylor Sheridan having been there to tap into that desire, all of these projects would not be out right now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I'm
they're using tapping into that desire to subvert the values of the people that are watching.
I plan on watching these shows. Like I said, I watched the first 2 seasons of Yellowstone and stuff. Like, I'm not saying these are deal breakers, but
Do you think they're thinking
I
about the
don't think it's
values
a
of these
psyop.
people when they're writing it? Do you think they're thinking
Yes.
about? You think they're okay? So the idea
It's a
that
Like, this is
Yeah,
a good
it's a
little
consideration.
nugget of our
Yeah.
social justice ideology to introduce
Right.
to the
That's-
stupid
yeah.
conservatives
That's
who
what I
are
felt
watching.
like. That's what I felt like there was a lot of tokenism as far as
that's
like.
that's not why I have
Well,
a problem with it though.
I don't have a problem with.
think,
Honestly, I have a problem with the idea of the fetishization of it and like making it seem as though like you can just move out west and you can bring your sensibilities with you. And
Well,
put
to be
it in
fair,
a-
like
in a-
Sheridan does, like, I think co-own a ranch,
Yeah, he
and he
does.
does like ride
he's-
horses.
He's seemingly
and stuff.
about it. He's seemingly about it to a certain degree.
He's
but-
from North Carolina.
Yeah, there's things about it that make me think he's about it to some degree. But I think I see your point in saying like there's definitely like this like, you know, this attempt to normalize having an interracial couple with the girl happens to have like dyed hair, and it's just like a seemingly like random thing and statistically seems unlikely and it happens. And I see there's like the tokenized conflict between like the super right-wing blonde girl and the super left-wing girl from the city and whatever, and this being in Yellowstone in particular, it seems like it's almost like engineered, like, okay, well, you got to think this way and you got to think this way, and I get it, it's for mass market, I understand that, it all seems grifty to me. It all seems like it's just like
there
you're
is no
saying,
such thing as entertainment anymore that will not feel that way because you're politically aware now. If you think that it wasn't when you were younger, it's because you weren't. It was at a
No,
time
I
when you
definitely
weren't
see
paying
it.
attention.
I definitely
don't-
see it in previous media as well.
but I'm saying, but like
when-
at the time,
but
you
we
like you
reached
think
current
fonder
year, and
of-
then the people
Yeah, for
writing
sure.
it became mentally ill. So it's not just that it's like more noticeable, but things are palpably
Brett, you
different.
asked if we think this is a psyop, but I think no, it's the result of a psyop
Yes.
though, because
That's
he's
what I
not.
think it is. It's like it's
if you are
resultant of
including
it.
a little nugget to like sway the other side of the political spectrum one way or the other, right? They're doing it in a way that attacks them, right? It's not like, hey, you made a mistake. Here's the right
Yeah.
thing to do. It's
Or
like,
overtly portrays
oh
him
my
as
god,
bad.
you POS.
It's like,
Yeah.
hey Biff, like
you were the
you blonde,
worst.
blue-eyed,
Like, you freaking
Hitler's wet dream piece of
Yeah.
shit.
idiot. Like, how could you didn't know?
You
way
have
more
no
on the nose.
power anymore, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna crush you
And
It's
that's
way
in
more on
front
the
of all
nose.
your
When
We
peers.
see this in the Proud Family reboot that's
Yeah, yeah.
coming.
Yeah.
We see this in Velma.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
It's way more on the nose. It's right. It's direct. It's
They don't care anymore.
It's not. It's not as nuanced as it used to be, where it was like they would like kind of talk about it, or even shows would just kind of be apolitical. They'd like lightly mention things about it. Now it's like, no, literally, these are the current talking points of like that are on the House floor right now, which is weird, and that doesn't feel like it's ever happened before, and that's why it's like the question being like whether or not it's a psyop. It seems like it's
the result of a
it's
psyop.
resultant. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's
This
come out
behavior.
in time because of that, which is a huge departure from like Sicario, which is the movie that I watched when I was younger, and I enjoyed that movie. Yeah. So I don't know. I think we're post psyop. The psyop has been going on, has been ongoing, and like this is just a result of it.
So what's the answer? The only answer is that you make your own stuff.
The answer is,
But I when people try to make their own stuff, you get Private American,
The
and you
answer
get
is-
Fox News Comics, right? So whether you want to admit it or not, Hollywood is 9 million levels better than every other industry at propaganda. They are. They propagandize better than any government department. Everything we talk about. When I talk about how shows used to be in the 80s, right, or how shows used to be in the 90s, the reason we are in the what you'd call like a overtly leftist society now that used to be liberal is because the 60s through the early 2000s you got nuggets of liberalism pushed in and coastal leftism pushed into media that still had nuggets of material that at least paid homage to middle America and the right. Now here's the problem. Both sides now understand that there needs to be control of these markets. It's no longer seen as a benevolent entity anymore. His entertainment, I would bet that he doesn't think of it that way. If he's the way he talks, I would guess that he is maybe apolitical, or if he's liberal, he's very, very smart and pushes it the way he wants to. But his producers and the people above him do have agendas, right? But the problem is we're in a we're not in an era anymore that will allow that to ever be a thing. It's never going back. It will never go back to the way it was. Conservatives will never control the media again because they need to create their own media. They need to create a parallel economy. It's too far gone. It's too far degraded. I can watch this and like it, but I'm not unaware of what it means for our society. I'm not unaware of the stuff they're putting in there, but it doesn't bother me. Not in the same way that it does. Velma bothers me because it feels like there isn't an ounce of joy in Velma. That when they're writing it to spite me whole hog in the front.
Dude, I'm not. My whole thing though is I'm not gonna like. I get some shows are worse than others, but I'm not gonna let a guy punch me in the face if he promises to buy me food afterwards. Like I don't care if most of the show I enjoy. They're still responsible for this stuff. Like if you want to talk about the struggles of the Native American community, there's a way to do it without belittling an entire portion of people.
How do we do? Have you seen Reservation Dogs?
No. Yes.
The liberal answer to this is either make this or you make stuff and only you can tell stories about what you've lived, right? So the only other way to do it is that you hire someone that is actually Native. I don't know who the writing team was for on that
No.
episode is. That's what they would say.
That's what they would say, but they're
Yeah.
saying that because they're mentally ill.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm telling you what their opinion. I'm not telling you that that's the only
These
way. I'm saying that that's what
people-
their opinion would be.
These people are just irreversibly.
But the
like,
activism's coming from a place of like the
poisoned with
1619
hatred.
project, like the CRT
Yes,
kind of stuff.
like-
There's no way
The
around
thing
this
is-
than to make your own stuff.
Yeah.
From here on out.
But I also
Hey.
feel like toward that industry, like F you. Like, why am I responsible for coming up with the solution? Like, I don't know.
Well, you're not responsible for watching it either. Like, you don't have to watch it and enjoy it. You just, like, we have
I'm
to
just
make
saying,
our own
like,
stuff.
it pisses me off. Like the expectation that like now we just can't expect Hollywood to make anything good. Like I should be able to expect that they like respond to audience criticisms and audience desires, but they never do.
As long as the money is still being made, and it seems as if
that's
still
why
being made.
he's including this, like the stuff. It's not because he thinks it's a real problem that he wants to expose. He knows that there's going to be money behind it. He knows it's going to ruffle feathers, and he knows it's a box he can check for the ESG stuff.
Is it possible that he thinks he's telling both sides of the story? Like, that's what I think he sees it as. Like, he sees he's just not connected to middle America anymore, so he sees it as telling things from both sides of the aisle.
Yeah,
but he's not.
But then awfuls are like, yeah, you tell that white devil about slavery in American history, and you embarrass him in front of his classmates because he's just a white piece of shit. Like, that's what that's about. It's about hatred and vilifying white people alive today, not talking about history.
Alan Garcia says we shouldn't have to make our own stuff when the stuff we already had was stolen. Thoughts?
Yeah.
Wait, what did it say again?
Said we shouldn't have to make our own stuff when the stuff we had was stolen. When the stuff we already had was stolen.
Or attempted to be like with Velma and everything like that. Like you could have just left it alone. You didn't have to like do Herbie Reloaded like 8. You could have just left it alone.
Dude,
there's no reason to do it.
I've said it on the show multiple times. You're gonna look back at the late 20-teens and 2020s and then be like, this is where culture died or just stopped. The heart stopped for a while because we are not like, all music is sampled from the 70s or 80s, and then they just make new songs and just rewrite the lyrics. All the new shows are reboots. Not all music though. That's the thing. That's also the thing that's different. It's I know. I'm generalizing
like
here, but
yeah, totally. But like the mainstream of it is the mainstream things that are acceptable it is very small. It often has been very small as well. It's like there's not a lot of room for things. I mean, the bandwidth is only so much, so to speak, for like this mainstream mentality, be it like in TVs, be it in music, be it in general media. So like, you know, it's not only because there's definitely music out there that is not in like the mainstream that is growing and changing, but the current mainstream is very diluted. It's very particular.
I was gonna say, and then the one form of culture that is like new and breaking is the LGBTQ stuff, which is we all know what that culture is, right? So it's either reboots and trying to redo what's been there before, or it's this crazy like, let's just rip the boundaries off of everything. Let's just rip the guardrails right off and just go full steam ahead, you know? And so they're going to look back and like, it's just like everything's done through a lens nowadays. You can't just tell a story.
It's always done through a lens.
It's not like this though, man. I don't believe that. I don't believe they made RoboCop through like some kind of
critical lens,
through a friggin' particular lens. I thought they were like, this is hilarious. It's a robot that hunts down the criminals.
I mean, that still exists. John Wick still exists. Those movies still exist.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm trying to say about music culture as far as that.
Right.
It's still there, but the thing is, the mainstream is widening, and it's like there's not I feel like again, like a lot of this is being fed to you. It's not really being sought out, you know. It's been like,
well, that's the other issue.
You're forced to like this. That's why I don't like Hollywood now. Is like you have to do this. This is all we're giving you.
You can disengage.
You can.
You don't have to watch any. Like nobody has to watch any.
You know, this is
This
is a pretty controversial take of mine, but I believe that like people are like cell phones, like just get off your cell phone. I'm like, dude, cell phones in this day and age to like actually have a job and functions in society.
Smartphones,
Smartphones, you need one. It's pretty crucial, right? And I'm like, so it's like, I hate that take. Like, just don't get off your phone, or just like, you know, I didn't need a phone when I was a kid.
If you unsubscribe from Netflix, they'll stop making movies like Cuties.
Yeah, it's like, it's like, buddy, you need the phone.
Right.
Like we have different needs in the current time than we did before.
So then it's your own responsibility to not let it get to you, or to just look away from it for a period of time.
I think
it's fine to be righteously angry, but don't let it control your life.
Yeah, and I think you're right, but that's why it's also like, I think it's not only our responsibility, but it's our right to hash out these ideas and figure out what they're doing wrong and how they should be doing things, whether it's Hollywood or the music industry or video game, whatever it is, you know?
So for a case like this, would you rather, Matt Walsh, would you rather Taylor Sheridan had just made something else? so that it doesn't feel like a psyop to you. So it feels like, okay, now if he'd made this about a guy who runs an art studio in Los Angeles and he's telling these stories, like, is the affront that people have to it because it pays any lip service at all?
If it were about a guy running an art studio in Bushwick, then no one would watch it. They're watching it because you're tapping into a desire to portray a different lifestyle.
The main
than
plot
that.
of the show is not the problem. The main plot of the show is like not the issue. It's how this little scenes play out. Maybe it's not him.
You're never going to get a show that doesn't. I would bet you so much. Like if it doesn't jive with the rest of his work, and he's being spread thin over 5 to 7 shows, logic would follow that was likely not written by him, and he either didn't care enough, and maybe you're right, or he is a bad actor and just didn't have it cut. Or he was overruled from whoever's above him on the production chain. The point is, there's too many layers. It's too infested.
Yeah.
If the goal here is to create entertainment that will speak to you and to your values, you have to find a way to do that through your own mediums. And then we need to be open to then people criticize. Like, will people not have the same critiques of entertainment going the other way? We hold the other side accountable, Mary, when they make Private American and we're like, the pitch for this sounds awful. Like, you have to hold both sides accountable.
Well, that's the problem right there. I don't think that these should be trying to appeal to any values. That's where I like kind of disagree. Like
okay,
or it doesn't have to.
Like I don't.
I mean, appeal in a contrived way versus just making something that reflects your values is different, right?
Right. I'm not talking about.
You can't make something that doesn't value some things over others.
Of course.
But
or is the logic that RoboCop doesn't have?
Well,
there are no values in RoboCop.
Well, I mean, there's like strength.
Yeah.
Right, but it's not like specific, like this particular group of people.
Not values, cultural issues.
Yeah, it's just, you know, and it just doesn't need to be like, we already have enough of that going on. Yeah. Whether it's shows like this on the internet or whether it's the regular news, we already have enough commentary going on about the culture. Yeah. We don't need our movies. Like, that's the escape.
Yeah, that's
supposed to be the escape. And
what are we supposed to like comment about if all of our entertainment is already commentary?
And the other problem with this is back in the day, there was just less of it. So you could afford, like, if all there was a certain amount of movies a year, 4 television stations and 4 cable stations, you can make RoboCop and nothing but a bunch of movies like that now. But there's 9 streaming services. Yeah. There's a certain amount of movies released every year, and you only have so many good writers in Hollywood. So those good writers are going to be mined for the good content, and the rest of them are going to use social commentary with stuff they either got from CNN, MSNBC, Fox, any of these stations, whether it's left or right, and then you're left with the social commentary stuff.
What do you think it is? Like, what do you think it is when you see these shows that, like, let's say 95% of an episode is completely fine, great original storytelling.
It's just bad editing.
And then they have that little bit of woke garbage they throw in there, like they're trying to push an agenda. What do you think it truly is?
It was forced in there. That it was a studio editor's note. That the studio said you need to. They used to do that all the time. Okay, so it's like you need to include this in this. I think
one of the reasons they say you need to include this is because there's a special cachet in a show with the themes and the tone of
reaching more
Taylor
people.
Sheridan's. Yeah. Meaning you're reaching more people that they perceive to be particularly more ignorant than the rest of society.
And reaching more, just more demographics that they otherwise wouldn't be reaching, whether through advertising
they think,
and whatnot.
The old white people watching this especially need to hear this. That's what they think.
I don't know if I think the studio believes that. I think the studio wants their funding, whether it's investment through ESG.
They know who is into Yellowstone, right? Like they know who that attracts.
It baffles me. It really does. It's one of those things that makes it's hard for my head to understand, because if it is studios like just like forcing this into projects, it's like, why? It's like, you know how like 10 years ago, you know how like diverse this country was and how low like racial tensions were and everything like that. And there was even, you could look up in Nat Geo and they're like, this is what like a human will look like, an American will look like in 2050 or 2100 or 2100 because of all the different like genetic mixing that's going on. And it's like, we did not care. These were not major issues.
Well, I don't know about the Nat Geo thing being done in earnest.
But what I'm saying is like
I get what you're saying. Like we feel gaslit because a lot of us, and at least like I know a glimpse, we saw with our own eyes that we lived in a more sane and unified society, and we were going in a good direction seemingly, and then it was subverted. And then now like people who ascended to the top during that time, like the 90s and 2000s, such as like Williams.
I was like, Kat Denning. Was
not
the
Dennings,
chick from
Williams. Kat Williams
Chicks?
is like talking about how cancel culture doesn't exist, and if you think that it does, then you're just bad at your craft. Like people who found a comfortable place in entertainment back when it was easy are now lecturing the rest of us about how, nothing changed. It's always been like this.
And if I truly try to like sit down and like try to understand whatever message they're pushing and try to be as empathetic and sympathetic as possible, it's like it doesn't work. It's not bridging. If there's a gap, it's not bridging it, right? Like this is just lighting the flames. It's just fanning the flames, I should say.
I would assume that Taylor Sheridan doesn't see it as his job to bridge any gaps. It's his job to make a television show. And if a studio says, we need you to include gay furries, he says, well, I guess that's what I have to do. But it's not his job, right? Like, so
that's what I understand. Like, where is that stemming from?
It'd be really hard to put that in 1883, to be fair. Really difficult.
We've been on this for quite a while now. I think we should probably go to Super Chats.
Callan's just getting into it.
Yeah.
He's just started.
Corey Anderson said steroids are rampant in the MCU. This is true. Dumbledore said lots of people have physical risks associated with their jobs. An actor complaining about weight is just more whining by people living the life.
She wasn't really complaining about it, not in that article. I mean,
well, she complained that she was kind of pigeonholed while she was overweight.
But she wasn't complaining about like the risk of being overweight. She said that when she talked to the doctor, that they said she needed to lose weight to get healthier. So.
Hobbit said, as someone who's 100 pounds overweight and who grew up heavy, I know that I thought I was normal. I know there were bad issues, but it was normal to me.
Callan's definitely right about that.
Mm-hmm. Carnell said, Mary, please check out Honest trailer of The Walking Dead seasons 1 through 3. It has references you'll find funny, as well as the constant head rubbing of Shane. Yeah, the way he just rubs the back of his buzz cut constantly. And also Rick talks to people with his hand to his chest, and he goes like this.
Yeah.
Like, we're trying to survive.
Yeah, certain actors have that, have their hand motions that work for them, or their stutters, like Jeff Goldblum when he stutters.
Oh, you know who was great? Who played Kramer on Seinfeld? I mean, he was fantastic for that.
I don't know his name.
I don't know his name either.
I know he said the N-word and got in trouble.
I know, yeah.
We might seems like something Kramer would do.
Yeah. There's a little more.
Did Kramer not do that?
Why?
Perturbed Alpaca said thick equals healthy, thick with 2 C's equals obese.
So it's just, there's literally like a 1 C difference between healthy and obese. Well, feels like there should be more C's between them.
Here's the other thing with the whole thickness thing that no one talks about is like, people have different genetics. So like different parts are going to be more pronounced on different people. Mm-hmm. So it's very unhealthy when everyone's trying to obtain this single body type. It's like your genetics might just not be cut out for it.
I'm just annoyed how like, if the tide turns the slightest amount toward like things that are more flattering on skinny people, they're like, oh, heroin chic is back, and they're trying to make everyone anorexic and do cocaine. Mm-hmm. Like that, it's just no.
I know.
No.
Yeah. Yep.
I know. And now people like joke about it. They're like, oh, that girl, she must have been drinking the milk with the hormones when she was a kid. You know, it's like the people like they used to say, hey, we shouldn't let these little kids be drinking this, like be eating this stuff, be drinking this stuff, and now they're like embracing it. They're like, yeah, that's what we were doing.
Yeah, everything's it's one or the other. That's like that is the zeitgeist. If anything, the zeitgeist is us versus them. It's black or white. It's red or blue. It's a one or two. There's nothing in between. It's only us. It's only them. That's that. If anything is a zeitgeist, the thing that I take away from like these years is going to be like, it was all or nothing. Period. There's no in between. The gray area is gone. It does not exist. It's not. If you're part of the gray area, if you are saying you're part of the one side and you say, well, I mean, I can see their argument, you're immediately pushed and ostracized out towards the other side. There's no time. They don't have no time for you. And then when you get to the other side is already apprehensive about you coming and saying, oh, well, who are you? Like, why should we trust you? Like, weren't you that? You'll often see in our sphere, being like, oh well, she was like, if it boils down to it, oh they were like this in the past, they had this in their past, so they were never really about it in the first place. It's like well, you can't win. I've experienced it as an immigrant, but it's it's the truth. It really is an us versus them reality now.
Dumbledore said, full points for irony when a bottle blonde says being heavy makes everyone look the same. Being hot is fine, but a prissy and sour demeanor is never sexy. Ask me how I know, that is all. Not sure what the point is.
Are we supposed to ask how you know?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Caleb Williams said, marry the podcastrator?
Wow.
That's terrifying.
Nice. I like that.
Cardio Bro said 2-mile jog a day can change someone's life in 3 months. Went from 210 to 136 in 6
Wow.
months.
That's
Of
amazing.
5K a day. Stay
Nice.
hard.
That's
Nice.
amazing.
I've seen it happen.
Good for you, dude.
The poor guy who has to go with David Goggins on all his runs.
Oh yeah.
John Lee said, Kellen, Surge, how much do you guys bench?
I'm at like 130 right now.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm working on it. I'm trying to get to at least my body weight, which is like
I never really,
170 something.
I was a big team sport dude, so I never really did weight training. I mean, it doesn't quite make sense.
Bro,
but
let's go.
Never
I
did
used-
weight training. Really.
I can relate. I was
Like,
a cyclist. Never really did
stuff with
any
the
upper
ball.
body, and I want to get that in my life now. So I'm trying.
Yeah, I was a big swimmer.
Hey, then you should like weights, bro. Let's
I
go.
know.
Luis
Yeah.
Aguilar said, who has more Riz, Surge or Kellen?
Oh, that's a great question. It's even harder than the bench question for me.
Charisma? I don't know. Which is what the word comes from, by the way. It's charisma. That's where Riz comes from. Just give some etymology behind that.
It's like vibrations is where vibe comes from.
Yeah, I don't know. I think mine's more unspoken.
Is,
So-
do you-
Unspoken Riz.
Is yours unspoken?
I think so, personally.
I don't know. I thought
You have
yours-
His
drip.
Riz moves in silence.
Yeah, my real juice movement silence. You have you have Riz. You have drip. I would say. You've got
come on, man.
outstanding drip. However, my
Oh.
Riz may outclass yours sometimes.
Bro,
But I am also
dude.
got a couple years on you.
Your Riz
you know,
is so 2000 and late.
nice. Yikes.
Dumbledore seems to think I'm pretending to not get his point, but I truly don't know what your point is. But I don't know why you watch the show if you don't like the show, sir.
Yeah.
Goofer Trooper said, I'm loving Brett's enthusiasm about thickness.
See, there was enough C's there. There's like 4 C's there. That's enough
How
to
many is
quantify.
enough?
Just 1 C being a difference between overweight and healthy just seems wrong to me.
Mm-hmm.
Bobcat said, the helicopter people are intended to be a big mystery in the series. You have to actually infer about them from clues given in the show.
This is Walking Dead.
They first saw, they first saw like the helicopters.
Do they not explain
in
that?
Atlanta while they're on that department store roof with Merle, but that was never like concluded or addressed.
Do you
but
care if I spoil something? I don't know
Yeah.
if you've watched all of The Walking Dead.
I have. I mean, not all of it. I
Oh,
stopped when
okay.
it got like stupid.
So there is a part where he gets taken to the helicopter people for a meeting in like the junkyard, like not
Yeah,
to
yeah,
their
yeah.
base. Okay, so he ends up meeting them kind of.
The
But
junkyard people?
no, the
Wait.
They're called the helicopter.
You don't know
people.
who they are.
Oh, okay. Well.
And so anyway, the
unpause.
helicopter people fly down, meet with I think it was Rick. It's been a while. Anyway, but yeah, they like just don't address this, and I don't know if they do. I still have to watch the last season, but I would
Why,
be really
though? It just
pissed
is-
off
it's awful.
if there's this whole elaborate story they never explain.
I wouldn't subject myself to watching the whole of The Walking Dead.
Let's hold off on the rest and then come back after
Okay.
after Tom Cruise.
Okay.
Tom Cruise.
Did you not want to go straight to Florence Pugh?
No, I was
Ooh.
going to mention that at the end. It was
Love
just something I wanted to
Florence
mention.
Pugh.
No, that was
Okay.
let's go Tom Cruise.
Okay, so there was this Oscars nominees luncheon that they held, and I feel like all of these people
Fun.
complaining about getting Oscars snubs are just mad that they didn't get invited to the luncheon, and that's all they care about because they're elitist snobs.
Yeah, lunches are. a
But
thing.
one of the revelations from this event is that Steven Spielberg went up to Tom Cruise and just started kissing his ass and saying that he saved Hollywood and the entire theatrical industry. So let's show the video. I guess that's like simpler than trying to come up with a transcript of what he said.
Was it which one was it that you sent? Just the
Yeah.
one, this one? Okay.
Yeah. And then people, like a bunch of people, made fan cams of this moment as well. And of Tom Cruise. It's not on screen, Brett.
We're gonna get a copyright on that music. I think we caught it.
Well, it was only like 0.5 seconds.
Yeah. I don't know if Steven Spielberg can technically kiss anyone's ass because I think he's like he would be the boss in Hollywood. No, I don't.
Yeah,
The Hollywood should be kissing Tom Cruise's ass because he seems to be the only one who knows how to do his job.
Well, it's weird because a lot of people would say Spielberg is part of the problem with Hollywood right now.
Um,
Contributing a little bit to the problem.
I prefer Jerry Bruckheimer to Steven Spielberg. Anyways,
Like, what was that West Side Story remake?
I know, right?
Oh yeah.
What are you
I'm
doing,
speaking
bro?
purely on financial terms. Spielberg is the even bigger heavyweight.
Someone
than-
should do a new West Side Story, and it's like an invasion of sharks. The military has to call in the jets. It's jets versus sharks. You know, it's the
Okay.
gangs.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah.
No humans in movies for the next 100 years. I say.
That'd be great.
That would
Oh,
solve
another
the
thing, like-
issue.
That'd be great.
Where's
He made the Fablemans,
Yeah,
but
Well,
is praising Top Gun Maverick. Where is the resemblance between the two?
I would love to see what the financial breakdown was for who funded the Fablemans, considering it's like basically a passion project about his own life.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, if he funded it himself, like
That and like A Man Called Otto. Who is watching these? Who's watching these?
Nobody.
Who are
I
these
always
for?
wonder that.
Nobody.
I always wonder that.
Yep.
I just don't know who it is.
And-
When I was living in Hollywood, I'd see these movies come up, so I put them up on the billboards for a while. I'm like, who?
And
what?
these are the A-lister
Who's watching
movies.
this?
Tom
Yeah,
Hanks
Yeah, literally. And you don't
is
hear
spending
nothing
his
about
time making A Man Called Otto
it. Yeah.
for no one to watch
Well,
it.
you know which
Literally,
movie
literally, it's
got,
gonna go
like,
on Netflix, and no one's gonna watch it on Netflix. It's
that-
gonna go on HBO, whatever. No
It'll
one's
be
gonna watch
passed
it there.
around
gonna
like
take up
a
server
useless.
space. Yeah.
I won't say that word. From streaming service to streaming service.
the Ford
unwanted
versus
straight- it's
Ferrari
a new
movie
straight to
was
DVD.
pretty good.
It's a
Ford
new
versus
thing.
Ferrari.
But that was
good.
but that was a similar situation to what you guys are describing, like big actors and kind of just like quiet release. Didn't really gain a lot of press, but
Yeah.
it was a great movie.
And then you see millions of YouTube shorts afterwards. Just millions of YouTube shorts.
There's another movie being based on Ferrari that's coming out in the
Ferrari.
Next, in the
Really?
next couple of months. Yeah,
It's similar,
Sweet.
not related to that story.
not related to that story.
A lot of people were pissy and mad about this interaction, by the way. They said, Top Gun Maverick was just a movie made for privileged straight white males. So
Nobody's actually saying
how did
that.
he say? No,
I
they
mean-
literally are.
I mean, nobody
One
in good
person
faith is
said-
actually saying that. They're just douchebags.
They said it's a movie about a bunch of men, mostly white, that did well post-pandemic. Like, it's
They're
not,
not real people.
revolutionary.
Well, that's the point. It's not revolutionary. It's literally
didn't
what
attempt
used
to be
what used to work
revolutionary,
20,
yeah.
30 years ago. Like and
And
hey,
another person said, why do people dick ride this movie like it reinvented the entire culture? It was literally about Republicans flying airplanes.
that's like whoever that is didn't even see the movie. That person didn't even see the movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. A lot of people were pushing back on this because
I wouldn't say he saved Hollywood. He saved the theaters.
I mean, that's what they're saying here is that he saved theatrical releases.
Right.
and this is
But
among people who hold that in very high prestige.
Hollywood just transitioned to the streaming.
They don't have
services,
they
so.
didn't transition to the streaming service because they just lost a whole shit ton of money on the streaming
'cause
services.
Netflix-
They've
Netflix
if in
kinda got
Amazon, I'm sorry, HBO and Disney have doubled down now, saying theaters are more important. They have to go back to the theater model. That streaming isn't going to be. It's not going to save them. They
Well, did
need
you
to
see
make
how
the
much
money.
money Disney Plus is making? Did you ever think that when they announced that they were going to jump into the streaming game too, that they'd be like the second or third
They're the
top gross, if
but
not number
Disney
one?
Plus is losing
they
money.
just lost 2 million subscribers.
Yeah.
They're all losing money.
They're losing
I don't think that's-
subscribers.
It's
and
not
it's-
going to make them any money.
On the whole, Disney
it's-
Plus as a Disney venture is a loss.
Well, I think they're all losing money because people are cutting back and
Well,
they're,
yeah,
like, they're
so-
realizing, I don't need 3 subscriptions. I need to save some money. I'm going
Yeah.
to cancel 2 of them.
So my economics brain always goes off with these things because I think about is it just a reaction to the reaction to everyone was stuck inside for 2+ years with the pandemic and everyone's like now going to start going out a bunch more, and people don't want to be inside watching those things? Or is there a real shift in like the demand as far as, are people really going to now say, I don't really want to go to the theater, I'd rather watch myself at home? Because I think people are going to then want to go out much more, and they're going to, I think what's going to happen is people are going to see that they really missed this. They're going to see that they really missed going outside. There really is a thing to that. As someone who likes live music and everything, there really is a thing to going out and listening to music that's different than like listening to it on your iPhone or your Walkman or whatever. And I think that's what it's showing. I wonder if it's like he really saved it, or if it was just like the first one that people were like, yeah, that's worth going to go see. You know what I mean?
Well, you know how awesome it is, like when someone like a family friend has like an actual like home theater or like outdoor theater with like actual like a nice setup, like good chairs, a good big screen. It's like going somewhere to do the activity is so much better. Like whether it's working, whether it's working out, whether it's going to watch a movie. It's like, it's so much better.
You
than
don't watch movies on your phone.
Like,
you know?
I can't. I don't know how people do
Although
that.
I have
really
done
don't.
it.
I really don't. I can't do it. Like I had to do it on my laptop for a little bit earlier this year. For like there's a like 2-week period where I didn't have a TV, and even that was brutal.
I watched
I'm like,
all
I
of
hate
Wednesday
this.
on my computer. I didn't mind that much.
I'm like, I hate this.
Brett,
I mean,
do you remember if No Way Home made more money than Top Gun Maverick? Okay, that's the thing. I feel like money doesn't actually determine the relevance to the culture, because
No, definitely not.
this comment was interpreted as like, Top Gun Maverick saved theaters, No Way Home didn't. And it's because, like, I saw someone say, it's because MCU moviegoers are not a crossover audience. Their movies don't promote people, quote, going back to the movies. It's just them avoiding spoilers.
Yeah.
Top Gun is what actually brought ordinary people back to the movie theater to watch different kinds of movies and be crossover audiences between them.
Theoretically, yeah. Like the Marvel audience was always going to come back, but that's not going to save you long term because there aren't enough Marvel movies released every year to keep the theaters in business.
Yeah, exactly.
You need to get mom and
something else.
mom and pa out to the theaters again.
Well, they're becoming a luxury experience now, right? It's not $8 to go see a movie anymore. It's $15 to $20.
Yep.
Hasn't it always
But
been
it
like
comes with no
that?
for a
With the
little
addition,
bit.
if you're gonna go get a drink, or
I'd say
anything,
like
so they're
right
in.
before the pandemic, like there was a lot of theaters you could go to, and you could go see a movie for $10 or cheaper, like a brand new movie. You just got to go in the afternoon or something.
I'll be honest, I wouldn't know. I don't really go to movies, but
now,
If-
like,
to be fair.
what they are doing is like you pay $20 or $30 and you get the lazy boy chair, and you get the waiter will come to you and everything. It's like
Whoa.
I think they're just going to continue that, right? And then eventually we're going to get to the thing where it's like with every movie cinema ticket purchase,
It's
you get
even more of an
you get a free
experience.
T-shirt.
yeah, it's more of an
Commemorating,
experience. It's more of
yeah.
a whole thing that you came out and went
Or
to.
you get a
go
free-
to.
You can't
That's what I think is happening.
incentivize people to the point where they're distracted from the fact that what they're watching is ass. You know, like
Maybe we
you can't
can.
stuff
what I'm
their
saying is
faces
it's
with food enough
becoming-
to think that the movie is
can
good.
we?
It's becoming even
Or
more
can
of
they?
an event than it was before.
That's
There was
true.
like, let's go to the movies, get some popcorn and soda. It's like
I think it's becoming more of an
now
event
we have to
because
go find our specific seats.
the
We
movies
can't-
suck.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Not all of them. I'm not
Maybe.
saying all of them, but a lot of them.
Yeah,
You
maybe.
I'm
need to
waiting for the
incentivize
first-
people to
But
come
now-
out to the movies for other reasons than they want to see.
Yeah, but now the movie has to like literally quite actually be worth seeing, because nowadays if someone goes to the movie, like the first studio audience that goes to see the movie, if they walk out there and say mid, post on Twitter like that was so mid, we're not worth watching, then everyone's gonna think, oh, it was mid, not worth watching. You know, I'm not gonna go watch the movie, because I think I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. There's
I
definitely a bunch of
incentivize
that.
myself to go to the movies by sneaking food into the movie theater.
There you go. You know, and I understand that that's a whole thing that's actually like part of the culture, and that may end up not making movies less fun for people to go to, or at least moviegoers. It may not.
Then
make
you're
it take
giving
away
the
from it.
studio more money than you're giving the you're not keeping the theater in business that way. They keep
Yeah, you're
very
giving the
little
studio
of that money. The theater keeps their money from the snacks.
From
They don't.
popcorn.
Yeah, you're actually funding the Marvel industrial complex more by sneaking snacks in.
Marvel
No,
industrial
it's not out
complex.
of pocket. This
If
is
you pay
company.
for
This
that-
is company money.
So I saw a comment here, and someone was saying I need to get the A-list card, which I almost did before the pandemic. When
What's that?
like every new movie it's like one of the movie
Oh,
theaters you see
yeah,
like for like $20 a month, you get unlimited.
A subscription service.
Yeah, but you get to go see as many movies as you want, right?
Sounds like
At the
Netflix.
theaters. Anyway, so the it is like Netflix.
Yeah.
The when that first came out right before the pandemic, it was worth it. Every new movie was coming out through the theater. But I was like, maybe that's what they do for the A-list. One of the perks for signing up is you get to just bring in outside
Yeah.
food.
Right, yeah.
They're like, oh, you got a
they're not gonna- they're
a
not gonna want
16-inch
that.
pizza right there, Mary.
How are they gonna make money?
Where's
on
your
that?
membership card? Because she's
the-
paying.
I flash my
She's
card
paying
like
$15
I'm an
a
FBI
month
agent.
to be on the A-list.
$15 a month is not a lot of money. It's guaranteed money, but
Per
that's not a lot of
person?
money. Well, how many people? Are
Only
you
if
talking
people
here?
adopt it
She
en
d-
masse.
Yeah, it's
Not a lot
You
will.
forget that Mary was bringing in these snacks, smuggling them in
So,
the
okay,
whole
so
time.
what are you gonna
So
what are you
the
gonna
theater
put
was
the
getting
regular?
nothing.
What are regular ticket price gonna be? They're gonna have to increase that
Why?
because again, it's not.
The
You're not.
ticket
if it's not
prices are
adopted
really
en masse.
high.
Mary
Way higher than
Mary's
these.
been
Right, so
bringing
but then
in
I don't think it'd be
Chick-fil-A.
$15 a month. I don't think it would make money because maybe the culture's changed significantly. Even after COVID, it'd have to be.
You don't get a ticket with that.
So you pay for the ticket. Okay, so then you pay for the ticket and
This is
the
just to
$15
like
a month
this
just
is
to bring
just
food
this
inside.
is just to
That's
like
the goal.
skip the line, get discounts at the counter,
Okay.
bring your own outside
Alright.
food in.
I should understand. I've never.
Yes.
I don't know how this works. I'm just trying to figure out.
Yeah. Ticket
how
price.
it
Well,
goes.
like the one that the guy commenting about, it's like $30 a month, and you do get a ticket. It's like unlimited movies, and then you get like, I don't know, 10% off drinks. You just skip lines.
Interesting.
There's
But
perks.
I'm thinking about it from my perspective. I guess some people would go see a lot of movies would like to do that. But I mean, if I'm just gonna go
I
see
would do
Top
that
Gun,
instead of getting a subscription service.
yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
I am, but I won't do it now because there's just not enough movies that I want to see. You know, there's just not enough coming out for me
Yeah,
to
but this year is different. There's a lot coming
Is
out this
there?
year. So
Okay.
this year and going forward, that might be worth it again. I would rather do that than get Netflix, than get Disney Plus, any of these streaming services, actually.
Something I've thought about is whether or not these things like things have become like a cultural moment in themselves. Like I think of Game of Thrones and like how every episode that would come out, it was such a cultural event. Like people would go and hang out with their friends and like that. Is that would that ever be like move towards the theater? Would things like that ever become a thing in theaters?
What do you mean?
Where there is like such a big episode, like let's say something like Stranger Things, it has a ton of success, it's very popular.
Mm-hmm.
Would that ever be something where there's going to be a like, do you know what I'm saying? I'm not
I already
saying
know that
they
the-
used to do that.
The Chosen has had movie theater showings, episodes of The
Interesting.
Chosen.
They used to do that. So back when movie theaters first gained popularity, they would have so no matter what movie you were seeing, like either right before or right after the movie, there'd be like a 5-10 minute clip,
Yeah.
and it'd be recurring, and each week it'd be a new episode. So they used to do that, and it'd be its theater's own little thing.
Who was the K-pop group? The big K-pop group?
BTS.
They had their
The
concert.
big K-
Blackpink.
They had
Blackpink's
their
big too.
concert played in theaters for one weekend.
That must have been BTS.
Might have been BTS.
But that's crazy.
That's
like,
happened.
who
Justin Bieber had that though.
Who would care?
That was a whole
the Justin
era.
Bieber
That was an
movie
actual
different.
movie.
That was like a whole documentary
Yeah.
that was
Oh,
produced.
this was
B-
just a
Rather
yeah,
than
concert.
just, like,
BTS had like a
footage
concert that was
concert,
like
yeah.
played at a theater that you could go to at theaters.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
They're-
That's great.
I think
I
it's
would
more of
say
like the
it's
fandom
good.
experience.
I
that
honestly
they're going
think
for.
it's probably harder to like get in contact and meet one of those BTS guys than it is to meet our own president. I honestly
Well, I
believe
mean,
that.
they met our own president,
Yeah.
and
And
I'm
he,
sure our
he was,
president had
he
no
was
idea who
honored
they
to
were.
meet them. He, you know,
sure.
they didn't
cool
know
if he knows.
they didn't know who each other
Yeah,
were.
yeah.
Yeah,
That would
they
be-
were like, okay, who is this guy?
Who's this guy?
Um,
Who's
Hey, this is Jimin.
dude? Yeah.
What do you mean?
and
this guy?
Biden is like, I can't tell all of you apart.
Are you the Boy Scouts?
It's like totally senile.
No, but really though, it would
Oh.
something like that bring the theater back? Because I think that going to the theater and having like a thing where you go
They're
to
starting
like,
to do
the
that.
movie theaters is a
They
thing.
are starting to
So
do
AMC
that.
is starting to show NFL games on Sundays on the
Really?
big screen.
I didn't know that.
I like that.
Yes.
If I can see
So it's like
Daytona
you're-
500, and
Like
a
you don't
movie
want to
theater,
go
I'll
to a sports bar, so you go to a movie theater.
And you
Yeah.
get to drink in these
Yeah.
theaters
Yeah.
now, which
Yeah.
if you guys are not from the U.S.,
That's how I see them
like,
pivoting to come back
culturally,
in a big
Yeah.
way. In
drinking in the
reality.
theaters is a new thing.
Right.
Yeah, it
we
is.
ha- You know,
but
we
people
have
can behave themselves, right?
no, they do
No,
most of
I
the
mean-
time.
But I haven't
As long
done
as they
it.
can still fight at Waffle
but
House afterwards, I think it's
UFC
okay.
too.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's then
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because there has to be an
Like,
octagon,
especially with
poster.
how much it
Rentals,
costs
birthday
to-
parties, and you
yeah.
could just put whatever up now. Like people have been renting them and then bringing like their Xbox and something,
Yeah,
and like
that's
playing
that's
games
the way
on the
that
big
I
screen.
see. That's the way I see them pivoting to make money and to bring back theater. Do I think that this movie was a good way to do it? Sure.
Entertainment
but
space. Well, you know what they need? They need one theater that's like multi-use that they could roll the chairs out and they could roll in like a DJ.
Another thing that
Interesting.
happened at this luncheon that I just wanted to mention because it's funny in a way that you don't know if you should laugh or cry. They brought up Slapgate again.
Really?
The president of the Academy of Motion Pictures brought it up
Oh, I
again.
remember
She
that.
said that they didn't react swiftly or harshly enough.
Yeah.
She
I
said, I'm
agree.
sure you all remember we experienced an unprecedented event at the Oscars last year.
Huh.
They won't even name what happened or
Really?
who did it.
That is pretty insane. Like,
She
looking
said,
back.
what happened on stage was fully unacceptable, and the response from our organization was inadequate. That they kicked him out for the next decade was inadequate. We learned from this that the Academy must be fully transparent and accountable in our actions, and particularly in times of crisis, you must act swiftly, compassionately, and decisively for ourselves and our industry. You should and can expect no less from us going forward.
I'm sorry, he should have been arrested that night. So this person's right.
What the?
But
should've
how
been
is
Why
the
can't you just
Academy...
give Chris Rock a free shot at him and call it a day?
The thing is, the Academy couldn't have done anything to make Chris Rock press charges.
No,
Someone
but you
should have
don't
called the
need
cops,
to.
though.
Yes, what I'm saying, you don't need Chris Rock to. You had millions of people watching at home, and you had however many thousand
But
people
what are you
in the
going to do?
audience.
Is he going to get arrested on TV?
Yes, at least that's the very least. He needs that
Cops
humility.
wouldn't have even been allowed to get into on-duty by
I know,
private security,
I know,
right?
I
Like
I mean,
know.
it's not like that security was any
the
good.
off-duty
anyways.
cops doing
like,
private security for the Oscars, keeping on-duty cops from
It
getting
wasn't
into the
just a
Oscars.
slap,
So
like,
funny to me.
It wasn't just a slap. That guy had to walk maybe 50 yards. And
It
that
was a
whole
long
time,
walk where you had a lot of time to reflect.
Yeah, and he wound up like
Mm-hmm.
that.
He didn't even run.
It wasn't even legal with like the.
It was a casual stride.
What's that slap show? Technically, that was not. It was non-sanctioned slap. Too.
Oh, was that right?
It was stepped into
The power slap?
yeah, it's not. It's not even sanctioned. I watched enough Power
Non-sanctioned.
Slap to know that it was like it was an illegal
Yeah,
slap.
Dana White.
Okay.
Get
even in pro,
Will
even in
Smith
pro
on
slap
Power
league,
Slap.
you couldn't do that in Power Slap. It was too much. He walked into it. It was way. It's just you couldn't do that.
It's so ridiculous.
illegal.
And that's what upset me, though. Is I mean, I think this person's right. It was a pretty weak response from the Oscars
No,
after
it
it
wasn't.
happened.
If anything,
Yes, it was, dude.
They were
Any
gonna-
regular person does that,
They
you're
banned
going to
him for a
jail.
decade.
No regular
Decades.
person is going to even get
Who
close
cares?
to the stage.
It's the Oscars. Like, nobody cares. Oh, you got banned
For someone
a
like
decade.
Will Smith, I'm sure he actually felt like that stung.
He's old world.
Because he's
like,
part of the
Yeah.
clique.
people slap
He is.
each other in
You know how many
bars every
other-
weekend and nothing happens.
Yeah, true. I agree.
I'm not saying that it's not a breach of decorum or
No,
that he's
no.
not a dick for doing it. I'm just saying that Hollywood is acting like a bunch of pussies.
Right, I agree that they should have allowed them to fight it out.
Yeah.
We should have been able to watch it on TV.
Chris
That's
Rock
the
should
best,
have.
the
Chris
best
Rock should
scenario
have
for
at least
everybody.
gotten a free shot back.
Yeah,
at
I
him
think
and
the world would have loved to watch Chris Rock and Will Smith fight.
Or what they do is they go to Chris Rock. They're like, "Look, either we'll ban him for 10 years, or you can slap the shit out of him."
Or
You
they
pick."
should just go on Power Slap together and have a fair sanctioned
That's
slap
what they
off.
should be
That's
doing.
what they should be doing. You pivot it
Well,
and
no,
make money.
Chris Rock gets two
Put that in
because
the
Will Smith
theaters.
already got one.
Oh, good point.
So
Good
Chris
point.
Rock gets two slaps.
And then if he flinches the first time, then he gets another two.
like imagine,
Just make it an event. That'll bring people in the theaters.
you
I
really
would go to the
think-
theater and pay a subscription pass and pay a premium amount of ticket just to go see that.
You really think that they
Promise
didn't
you.
go far enough?
Yeah. They
Well,
didn't go far enough, dude.
what you- what-
dude,
hang
it's,
drawn
it's
quartering?
not
Like, what are
it's
they gonna do?
not two drunk guys. Hey, you're dumb. No, you're dumb, and they slap each other at a bar. This is a public event with the world watching, and
Was
you
the world
have
watching?
More like
Was the
5
world
million
really
people watching.
and you have what?
It was
15
premeditated.
It was a long time, a long distance to get up there and walk. Be like, you know what? I should sit back down. This is a dumb idea.
Because he
Maybe-
waited until he looked for
And
Jada's
you know what?
reaction.
And he hit him, and all people.
He was laughing at first.
And the only thing that happened was they said, "You can't come to our secret club anymore." That's what they
That
said.
means a lot to someone as pathologically narcissistic
it's one of
as Will
15
Smith.
different
Sure.
clubs, and I'm just saying, even if he didn't spend time in jail, he should have at least been taken away that night. He at least hauled out, kicked out.
The security,
It said he got
security
presented
with-
should have
Maybe not
removed him.
maybe
You
not
mean
letting
you wanted
him
to be held accountable? Is what you're
Not
saying?
letting him do his acceptance speech.
would have been
So, you know what they should have done? They should have been, this next award was going to be for Will Smith. They just throw it on the ground.
they should have
okay.
given it to Chris Rock.
That would have been funny. What if they said Will
wild.
Smith and it's Chris Rock that runs up to
Yeah.
get the award? That would
Yeah,
be funny.
that would be wild.
I just
But
They're not smart and they're
10-year
humorless,
ban?
joyless
if he
people,
gets
so.
arrested, his $5 gazillion lawyers get him off with literally no crime.
It doesn't
Someone
matter.
said pointless
You
debate.
see
You're right.
Will
This is a
Smith
pointless
getting
debate. This is totally
arrested, or
pointless.
whatever. You're right. You're right. But you see Will Smith getting arrested. I think that's more impactful than a 10-year ban from the Oscars,
Nobody would think
which
so
no one
anyways.
watches anyway. That was my.
I bet
don't
Will
care either
Smith
way.
would rather
I think it's all
get
a psyop.
arrested and go to jail
All
than
a
get
psyop.
banned from the Oscars.
Yeah, because then at least you could have a redemption
That's what he
arc.
values.
At least have some time away from his like core abuser who's gotten away with all of this, and no one has said anything about Jada Smith's involvement in this, and like the fact that she was the person that made Will react.
And now
this way.
Jaden's posting videos of himself crying on the internet.
No one talks about the elephant in the room. I guess I'll be the guy to bring it up, but it's like it's not like Will reacted like this out of just Will Smith, Family Man. It's like there's more stuff that's been going on in the media for a while before that, but no one talks about that. I don't know if I'm
your
gonna
bed.
bring it up. Hey,
Jordy Pete
just saying.
says.
Just saying. That's all I'm saying.
Got to make your bed.
Let's go to Super Chats. Bert Feg said Mary's no count has been initiated. Yuan Tarafa said, thank you for everything you guys do. Surge low energy MVP.
Oh, hype.
He's not low energy.
I'm extremely low energy.
He's medium
I keep it
energy
calm.
today.
He's definitely medium right now.
Mid energy.
Thank you, Juan.
Johnny Beck sent us the thumbs up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bobcat said, Hollywood has always been full of far-left propaganda. The USSR spent its entire existence funding American movies. Hashtag Yuri was right.
Just think about every war movie that's ever been made back when the military-industrial complex needed to use Americans for cannon fodder. Like every war, like it's the same reason I talk about. I love cop shows. I understand that every single one of them is a one-sided propaganda piece that is in no way close to reality.
Well, yeah, because what does it mean to be a bad cop? To basically break the law. They're not going to show people committing. Well, I guess they
do that all the time too.
That is the point of the show.
But no, that's not even the egregious part. It's the idea that these people go in every day and have some amazing desire for justice for people they've never met. Sure, that might be true of like a certain percentage of them. I believe that.
I bet like if you worked in that area, that field, like in SVU, you would just end up being a really jaded.
They're very jaded people.
You'd be jaded and at the end of the day, like a paper pusher.
Well, when we were Serge, when we were with Alad last weekend filming the protest, there's this cop that decided to park his van on the sidewalk, right, in a pretty busy part of town. So it's like we need to walk across the street, and we can't like
He's right in the
see
crosswalk.
because he's literally parked on the crosswalk
with a police van.
And so you know how Alad is. So Alad starts, giving him some lip.
Giving
and
the New
dude,
Yorker,
I'm pretty sure he threatened Alad.
Yeah, he did.
He was like, "Do you want to get arrested?" Because at one point Alad's like, "Am I being detained or am I free to go?"
Do you want to get arrested a threat?
If he says yes, do you arrest him?
arrest him?
And
I don't
if so,
know.
on what charge?
Yeah, I don't know. But like that was my whole point. Is like I understand. Yeah, the cops are jerks too. But
I'm not exactly a back the blue, thin blue line
Neither am I.
person.
But all of my friends,
humans are in general.
All of my friends that were super anti-cop. And remember, I just told you, like, I don't buy that they're all these great people. But all my friends that were fiercely anti-cop were the ones that talked back the most. When like it's a matter of practicality. We're out skating. Well, like we got arrested at the Target Center once when they were still building it because we were skating inside there. And my friends like talking back to this dude. I'm like, practically, we were doing something wrong.
Right.
Like, I'm not saying that this guy's not a dick. But I'm saying, like, you're not doing yourself any favors by making this harder on yourself. Right. I'm not,
but then we're going to get to the philosophical debate. Aren't you supposed to stand up to the bully? And
in court,
are
theoretically.
They bullies? Yeah. Are they really bullying you? Or are they protecting someone's property? And it's
the
like,
cop?
Oh, well, you don't believe in
the one that...
It just gets really deep. And it's better to just, like what Brett's saying, it's just practically, you should just be like, all right, let's bail.
When you get pulled over,
let's keep skating.
When you get pulled over, I don't care what color your skin is. I don't care if you're a guy or a girl or what you look like. Put your hands at 10 and 2 and wait for instructions. It's common sense. Yeah. And the thing about the cop shows and stuff like this is they don't portray cops in a way that's actually real to the world because they're not focused on the real world. They're focused on telling a story. Now, it's not a real story, but that's fine. The biggest, the thing that I hate the most is the way that they've ruined cop shows. Worse than what you would say about Yellowstone or what people would say about any show that's on TV right now.
They got rid of cop funk. All those ripping funk tracks in the background, they got rid of that
too.
Dude, you're missing live PD then. Or it's called something else now, but...
Yeah, but they've also, but in a way where like the cops are even like hate the cops on these shows. Like, it's stupid. It's very clearly written from someone that is that has ACAB in their Twitter profile.
1619
and sucks.
Yeah.
William Mabel said, "You fund them and they don't fund you. They win."
Yep.
Who is they? Though?
Who is they though? I was just
Yeah.
gonna ask.
So okay, so then we get back to this again. So like
This is what hate
you
watching.
have to make your own stuff. We all have to make our own stuff, and eventually we're going to be in an even more
I'm not gonna
divided
start
society.
making movies. I would make horrible movies.
It
Takes a little bit of self-awareness to say that. I don't think a lot of people in Hollywood
the other
have
thing
that.
The other thing about it is you remember that when these shows are in movies are written, they're written in writing rooms of 5 to 7 people. So eventually, it doesn't matter how good you are at your job, whether you're a far left lunatic making a far left lunatic show, a broken clock can be right twice a day, right? Because you don't something always sneaks through.
Well, it's funny because in practice, making a movie well requires the director to be fascistic.
Yeah, they have to be.
And to boss everyone around. And thank you. One person has to be the dictator.
Authoritarian.
But the writing process is not like that usually. The writing process is a good example of when it is that way is True Detective. The first season of True Detective was written and directed by one guy.
Sick.
I think the amount of writers does need to be
Shrink.
decreased.
Yeah, well, let's saying, but when you're making a show like okay, so in a show like Yellowstone wouldn't be a good example because there's fewer episodes. But if you're doing a network television show, right, you have directors that switch off. That switch off, and you have writers that switch off between episodes because as one episode is being produced, the next episode is being written, and you have to, that's all comes down to scheduling, and you're never gonna bat 1,000. I think that's another reason. Like a lot of it is like we talked about the philosophical problems with psyops and stuff with things like Yellowstone or all these productions. I think it is like you're just never gonna bat 1,000, and I would rather like the stuff I like and point out the stuff that sucks when it sucks, and that's okay. Like I save my vitriol for something like Velma, where everything is bad.
Oh man,
where everything is
Yeah.
done
I understand what you're saying.
with a negative connotation.
I'm just gonna call it out when I see it. You know?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm still going to look at it as like in an episode that's 60 minutes. If there's one scene that's absolutely awful and it's 5 minutes long, my goal would be that I can look at the 60 minutes and judge it for what it was, while still flicking the nose of the part of the episode that sucked. Right?
Well, sure. I mean, that's what I'm doing with The Last of Us. I couldn't stand that, dude. That episode was a drag. It was pointless to the story.
Which one?
The third episode.
The third
Third
episode.
episode. Yeah. Like.
Did the crisis meter update?
Yeah, it did.
Okay, just wondering if I lost my mind.
No, like to me, it's about like looking at it as a whole, and the goal is that you can point out the stuff that sucks. But I get when I get joy out of something, I'm not going to discount it just because something else in it sucked. Likely because it was written by multiple people, and it's like not everything's going to be a perfect story. Maybe it was different in literature when a book went through 500 different copy editors before it gets to production. Right, a book comes out like a writer writes a book once a year, right? So it's got to be perfect by the time it comes out. When you're just making that much TV, it's like soap operas. They do like 300 episodes a year, right? Like I'll take the good where I can get it.
But these days, like the shows on streaming are 8 to 10 episodes.
Yep, and they take 2
and
years
they have
to
no
come
attention
out.
paid to the quality.
Yep, and they take
a lot of the time. And they take 2 to 3 years, but it's COVID's fault.
Well, I don't
It's not
know
our
if that's,
incompetence.
I hate everything.
That
guys.
might-
I hate everything.
That might be Netflix with scheduling. Like they're going to release
Yeah,
things at
definitely.
certain times. Like they're not going to release Wednesday at the same time. They're going to release something else that's of a similar time frame or genre.
Season 2 will
Yeah.
return in
And-
2 years, or we might just cancel the show.
And they also pay attention to what other shows are coming out because they don't want to release things that are too close to something else at the same time.
And the other thing about Netflix too, and like to reflect the quality, a lot of those shows are made on these side schedules, like you said, and up to the point where like the quality gets affected no matter what you do. Because like I have a lot of friends that worked as grips and et cetera in the industry, and they were stagehands for these shows, and they'd say like, yeah, like it sucks because like we could totally do it better if like the director had explained it slightly better, or the set director had explained it slightly better, and stuff like et cetera like this. And then by the time we're like, oh well, we did it like this, like whatever, we'll just go with it. We have to be on schedule. We have to make it done in this time. We have time to fix it and time to do this, and then they just kind of go with it and then change in the editing room or throw some crappy CGI.
yeah, fix
on
it in
you know?
post is a
That's
whole
always a whole thing. And
we'll
it's just-
fix it in post.
Yeah, and that doesn't really work. You know, a lot of times doesn't really help make it doesn't, and at least doesn't help the product feel like it has quality. It's all just because it's like the money says this, we got to get it done in time. We don't have time to wait. We can't redo it. We just got to go.
And that's the problem. That's when you get into
it's quantity over quality.
the issue of where art and commerce intersect,
Yeah.
and then it's no longer about art. It's a product that's being sold.
Right. Exactly.
Evan King said Dances with Wolves was a movie that promoted peace. Yeah, but then you get Nathan Chasing Horse or whatever his name was.
The cult leader.
The cult leader. So
Those guys.
the dysfunction is either on screen or off.
Guys, do go watch Reservation Dogs.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
If you wanted to, because we were talking about the reservation earlier, and that was the one that's directed by somebody who lives on a reservation.
Yeah.
It's part of his community, and that's where I think Hollywood will eventually go. You will not be allowed to tell a story unless you can give them proof that it's your story that you lived. The ones who will be allowed to tell other stories will be like James Cameron.
And it's weird because a
And
lot
that's
of
it.
people who have experienced interesting things, who have interesting stories, are not good at telling them.
Yep.
Like think about someone who is a veteran from war. They can't talk about their experiences. How are they supposed to make a freaking movie about it that's easily consumed by the masses?
Well, you know who did
the
a
idea
good,
that because you've experienced something interesting, you should be able to make art about it doesn't follow.
And what about fiction too?
But a lot of those people, they get hired on as consultants on movies and
I was
stuff
just
like
gonna
that.
say, Band of Brothers, HBO. Have you ever seen that?
Yes.
No.
They did it very well. Where before each episode, they'd have about a 5-minute, not even an interview, just like the actual
features
people
of
who were in
interviews.
World War II at these battles that they're about to do.
That they're actually literally
It was
portraying.
about
The
Easy
people that are
Company. So the actual members of Easy Company that were still alive, they'd have, and they just talk about what they would go through. So you'd have a
Yeah.
regular person sitting in a chair, and then they do the reenactment episode.
Well, it's like having people consult isn't even good enough now. If you're the showrunner, if you're a writer, and you haven't experienced blank, blank, or blank, then you shouldn't make something about it.
I think every day we keep getting closer and closer to the last true Scotsman. We keep going down.
We'll find him eventually.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. It feels like you can never be good enough. You can never be pure enough within this mentality. It's like it's just gonna keep going closer and closer and closer. Eventually, the whole world will have no, it's just you're never gonna find the last true Scotsman. It doesn't exist. It's a fallacy for a reason.
I want to do this last bit here, and then we'll finish the super chats. And
We've still got a lot of super chats though.
Okay.
We're pretty late in the show.
Go
I think
for
we
it.
should finish the super chats. John S. said, cut looking fresh, Surge, 15 out of 10. P.S. Mad Jelly of Hannah Claire's jawline, peak goals. I ain't caught yesterday to say it. We'll pass on the message. Derek Knoll said, RoboCop was a commentary on when the military-industrial complex merges with corporate America and you end up with a corporation overlord. It was prophecy.
Every one of those movies that you think of as fun had layered stories that the director wanted to tell. It was just done at a time where being more heavy-handed wasn't allowed. And that's what I mean by they made the mission creep is because they made all of their inroads in society and arguably brought us into the greatest time period we'll ever live in, the 90s,
Facts.
because they put it in little by little.
Yeah.
Like every one of these shows, long before the college brochure catalog that is everything now, was still more diverse than most people's actual lives if they lived in middle America at that time, right? This guy goes into the cop in Lethal Weapon, you got the black cop, the white cop, and every show, like somebody's pointing out, it's like, look, every show back in the day, if you think like A-Team, everything had like one black guy in it, right? So that's 25% of a group of 4 people. If they're only 13% of the population, they were already overrepresented in that setting there. So it was already diverse. If anything, it would be Asians and Hispanics that were left out far more. But we were already doing that. We just did it in a way that was more artfully done back then. But you're not allowed to do that anymore. It has to be heavy-handed.
It has to be on the nose.
Yeah.
Usually Matt said, look up Harvard Alcohol Project designated driver.
Okay.
Interesting.
Okie dokes.
Evan King said, will we ever see a Thundercats movie?
It'll be made like furry crap.
Oh,
I-
no,
never.
no. When they start pushing furry acceptance,
Dude, it'll be
I'm
just
done.
it'll be just like
I mean,
Cats.
I've been off
you know?
the bandwagon, but no.
I had the swords, the thunder. I had the
sick.
swords. Yeah, I loved that.
I think unfortunately it's gonna be like Cats. Where they're gonna have this weird
Cats is just
neotech
awful.
type. Yeah, I know, and that's just probably gonna happen to it, and it's gonna suck.
Yeah. DD Mega Doo said, stopping by to try and turn pop culture crisis into spam culture crisis.
Nice.
Doesn't spam stand for something? Is it an acronym? Or am I making that up? I don't know.
I don't think it is. No.
I am about
I
the
think you
spam
might.
life.
I think it might stand. I don't remember though.
Yeah, X said movie fruitcake. It just keeps getting regifted. I don't know where the hate for fruitcake came from.
I like fruitcake.
It's not bad, but it's not great either.
As a Euroborn, I think fruitcake gets a
Euroborn.
really bad rap in the United States. Maybe it's because the fruitcake in the U.S. sucks.
What do
I
you
don't know.
identify as Euro trash?
I don't identify as Euro trash only because I don't wear a tracksuit everywhere, at least
Yeah.
most of the time, but I could start. And it's not necessarily, that's not even your like Russian tracksuit. I just mean general.
That's
like,
a thing in general.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean like the old school like rayon / silk kind of tracksuit. That's kind of more like the Euro trash thing. And I was born in Belgium, so I could claim that, but I'm
Special processed American meat.
Yeah.
Yeah, there
I
you
knew
go.
it was standing for something.
So I looked up that designated driver campaign. So
Okay.
Harvard in '88 went to Hollywood and all the major news studios and said, "I want you to do this. We want to cut down on traffic accidents,
Even cutting out
involving alcohol."
cigarettes.
But what's interesting is they didn't go for the "you're the problem" approach. They said, "Be a designated driver. Like, this is something noble you can do." They weren't attacking anyone for getting too drunk. And that was
Sure.
one of the main takeaways I'm getting from this.
Yeah.
Is that today we're seeing the opposite. We're saying people are purposefully, when they're trying to push a certain message, someone is always the victim, or sorry, not the victim, but the problem. Someone's always their like the target, and they're the reason why. Where this is just saying, be noble, be a designated driver.
How would you have rewritten that scene in the shop, where the shoplifting scene from Yellowstone? How would you have rewritten it to make it
should
more?
have never existed.
It's
not something
yeah.
that would ever happen.
Yeah.
It's just it's fake. It's something they made up in their minds so that it's like on the level of like everyone in the Starbucks clapped. Like it's on that level
Yeah.
of like fakeness. It
Yeah.
would simply never happen.
Yeah.
I also feel like it's in the same vein. This is on in Yellowstone, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think on that same vein too. Like they make it out to seem like, and I get it. It's a TV show. I get it, but they make the people and the characters like they're like Western tough. Or like there's like these. I saw a clip of this thing where these bikers got on the way and they're like, "Well, you got to get off here. So if you ain't on here again, you're gonna leave in body bags." And then they actually like. I don't know. I haven't seen the rest of it, but it's like the level to which they like portray violence. Again, I know it's a TV show. It seems like it's like trying to fit this narrative where it's like, oh, all these country Western people are about their morals and values to the point where it's bad and it's not a good thing. They're all bad people. They go and kill people in like the like. They go gay men people, in Minecraft, in like this little area that's like the Idaho, like, the strip that's like technically federal jurisdiction or whatever. It just feels weird. That's what when I watched it a couple of times, it felt like it was like they're pushing something with this. It didn't feel just as genuine as it could have felt, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could be wrong.
Depends on interpretation.
Yeah,
Rhaegar
definitely does.
Targaryen said, "I quit The Walking Dead 2 episodes before the first Negan season ended. There's no way they should have survived Terminus. After season 5, the show was a cartoon." Yeah,
you don't really miss much after that.
I've forgotten a lot of the details after Negan, honestly.
I
But
would
some
just like
people
to
didn't even like
finish
the
it.
governor. Some people thought that was like too much focus on human drama and not enough trying to survive against the
Well,
walkers.
I feel like that's gonna end up always being the zombie stories, like kind of.
The humans are always the bad guys in the end.
They're always the bad guys, but it's like, yeah, the humans always figure out how to like handle the zombies, so that stops being a problem at some point.
They did show over time how they became more competent at surviving, but you got to show how they get there.
Even with vampires, with other monsters, like the humans kind of figure out what they need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, the zombies are also always like degrading over time, right?
Yeah.
I always thought that was something never touched upon in movies.
But it's the opposite in The Last of Us. So like over time, the cordyceps will become more dangerous and stronger and bigger.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Josh Moore said, "Who actually wants to go out and risk meeting these creatures that surfaced during the pandemic? I am not risking getting gender fluid on me."
Oh, dude, it's weird, man. It's weird.
It's like getting acid attacked, but with gender fluid.
I don't want to know what gender fluid is.
I don't
We
either.
have some downstairs, I think, still.
We do. Chubbs' Farman said, "Brett, don't let Mary and Kellen break you, bro. You are not wrong about finding the good in movies, even if they are bad. Highlight the good, in my opinion."
it's for movies and television. It's one of those things where I think everyone's perspective comes from what their experience has been in the past. Like me, as somebody who has been part of who's made movies or been on sets and stuff like that and went to film school, I look at the filmmaking process just a little bit differently. And when I see the stuff that sucks in movies now, I'm kind of more of a realist. It's never going away. And our job requires us to watch this stuff. I don't watch a whole lot of new stuff in my free time just for fun, right? I watch mostly old stuff. Almost 90% of what I watch is old. So when I have to watch new stuff, if I have to, and I have a lot of the same complaints that Mary or Kellen or anyone has, I just choose to focus on the stuff that works because Mary's going to point out the stuff that sucks. We don't need two people here making the same complaints over and over again. Otherwise, it's just going to be us going, oh, yeah, we're so right about everything. I don't believe that any production outside of Velma is inherently just 100% bad. Okay, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I don't buy that. So, and even if everyone's watching this, like there's people with different tastes here that are going to vary on the spectrum. So somebody might give it a shot because I pointed out something that I liked about it, or somebody might give it a shot because Mary pointed out something she liked about something, and that's good. Like they can take the good with the bad, and maybe they hate it as much as Mary hates a lot of this stuff, or maybe they like it as little
as a designated hater.
Well, or like, I mean, there's stuff that you've liked. There's been movies that you've liked, right? Like, so it's like, so when they whether their tastes run closer to Mary's, that's fine. If they tend to find my more forgiving attitude towards a lot of this stuff, a lot of people are judging on the cultural aspect, and the cultural aspect is important. But if all we talked about was the cultural impact of all this stuff, we would that would be boring too. I want to look at other aspects of it. So.
DD Megadudu said, before I vanish again, have you guys seen the latest South Park? Your guys' rants on Meghan and Harry seem to have made it into the writing room. Highly recommend.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's a world.
What do you mean?
A worldwide privacy tour.
So I think I was on that episode of Pop Culture with you guys. We were literally like, for some people who say they hate being in the public eye, they do a lot of public stuff. Yeah. Right? And
it's a worldwide privacy tour.
Yeah. So they go onto the show of like whatever talk show host, like late night talk show host, and they're both picketing. And it's like leave us alone. Like all we want is privacy. And as they're going on a talk show.
Yeah.
I think they must be fans of the show.
I watched the trailer of it.
I saw the
clip. A little clip on Twitter earlier.
I think they must be fans of the show. They have to be because they also did the Who Is They Though with Carson.
That's the thing that did. Yeah, that's a good.
So shout out if they are. That's awesome.
Matt Stone, Trey Parker, come on the show.
Yeah, right.
Come on to Pop Culture Crisis, please.
Oh, draw Tim Pool.
We'll pay you an exposure.
The episode is out or it's not out yet.
I don't know if this one's been out or been teased. I don't know. I wasn't sure. Sure, honestly. But
I don't know when they release their episodes.
Pacty Platty said, I've been drinking at theaters for years. Fiance and I's first date was at Alamo. Food, beer, and movie. Good times. No need to sneak in food.
Nice.
That's cool.
Yeah.
The drive-ins are coming back too.
If the food at movie theaters was good and not exorbitantly expensive,
and you
I would buy it.
15-year-olds making your food who screw up all the time.
Yeah.
Drive-ins are coming back though, which is a good alternative.
I don't know how they're allowing like all of these underage minors to work at the movie theater, but the minors aren't allowed in the movie theater.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people under 21 are allowed to serve alcohol, but they're not allowed to drink it.
I think it's only you need to be like over 18 to serve alcohol.
Yeah, so it's the same thing. 21. Like you don't have to be 16 to be there.
Yeah.
You have to be 16 to be there to go to the movie, but you can be 16 to be there to.
Yeah, I don't know.
Work.
I wish kids like had as much freedom as they used to. Darius Harvey said should have taken the Oscar.
Yeah, they should have taken the Oscar from him. Have you ever seen that meme that says, speaking of that previous super chat, where it's like, back in the day we didn't have cell phones. Our parents just kicked us out of the house until 9 p.m. And then the ones that made it back, and the ones that didn't ended up on Unsolved Mysteries as God intended.
Yeah, I've seen that before. It's true.
Bert Fegg said, only angry spectacles and no gleaming denticles today from Brett.
I have, look.
I don't think he's angry. I think he's just, stating his opinion like the rest of us. Right?
Bespectacled. That's a great
You're
word.
bespectacled. Jacob Edler said, "Awesome show today, guys. The debates were great
Also,
Yeah,
like
dude.
we
and
were
pointless.
we
I
were-
love it.
Very pointless.
we were talking. We weren't like laughing about stuff. It wasn't like a normal segment where we're dunking on a bunch of celebrities. We were actually talking about something that we find important. So
Caper2X said, Leroy Jenkins, stay safe and have fun, PCC peeps. We will. Thank you. Bobcat said, are you remembering the same 90s that I remember? Because I remember the 90s as being even more divisive than what's currently going on.
that's a perfect example of why you should understand the subject. If time is subjective, then art is certainly subjective. If people remember different time, the same period in time, and I brought that up before when we were talking about like, look, this time we loved in the 90s still had the LA race riots.
Yeah,
still had all sorts of bad stuff happen. I would
Yeah.
love to see somebody make an app that was like a new, like you get your news for Twitter. Imagine like a separate Twitter that updated your phone the way it updates your news, but it was giving you all of the bad news that was happening as if it was that day in a previous year. So, like, you were not designed as a human being to understand all of the bad things that are going on in the world. Mary might agree with the idea that, yes, these news sites certainly were a little fascistic in their ability to decide what you got to see, but maybe we were better off, and I don't know if I agree with this, maybe you were better off not knowing about every food processing plant that's exploded, every train that's been derailed, every bombing that Hezbollah has run. Like, you were not designed to be a funnel for bad news constantly. And if you don't think that that's one of the reasons why 3 out of 5 people are more depressed than they've ever been, like, you know, you remember things more fondly than they were. But in entertainment, I think entertainment was in a better place in the 90s. Maybe the world wasn't, but
I agree.
Yeah.
And especially with the young generation, I mean, we always talk about how these parents are just giving kids tablets. Well, what are they seeing on these tablets?
Yeah.
What did they grow up with?
And the kid wasn't reading a
Angry,
newspaper when they were a kid. Their mom didn't hand them the
news,
newspaper.
yeah.
And say, yeah, here, kid, he played with toys. He didn't read the Wall Street Journal to pass the
So
time.
everything you just described, kids are growing up with, and that's why it's like the Gen Z outlook is just like F it.
Yeah,
Like, screw it.
because
It's
they're
like,
overloaded.
Who cares anymore? It's like the world's basically burning
Who
already.
cares? I want Astro Boy
It-
boots and AirPods
It
and,
was always
Straight up.
and a fade. Like,
Yeah.
it was always
Yeah.
Let me just
burning.
hang.
The world was always burning. You just have more access to watch it burn.
Right. Yeah, that's what I keep. That's what I keep thinking. Honestly, and there's also that everyone has a video camera in their pocket now. You're gonna see a lot more things. You're gonna see a lot more. Like, there are still tons of car accidents every day in this country.
We further
just see them on video now. Everyone gets a rubbernecking video as they drive past now.
I know. We
It's
further
totally
put a
different
price
world.
tag on
Attention?
human interaction.
Well, yeah,
right?
just
Like,
attention span as well.
Attention too.
People
and
just paying attention to anything. It's like what you monetize, not like watch time. It's always been like the number of clicks, the number of engagement, not really the amount of time spent on engaging with the content. Just the fact that they did engage with the content.
I love it. Someone said Brett Theist confirmed.
What does that mean?
Like we were made the certain way.
Yes,
I think the implication they're making.
Well, you know what? In Roman times, I don't think they got a bunch of news about other civilizations also burning at the same time.
So true, King.
Facts.
That's
It's true. Yeah, facts.
Rhaegar Targaryen said spam equals superfluous pieces of additional mail.
that makes perfect sense.
I didn't know about that one. And Grofty said buck.
Ah.
Thank you
Thank
for
you, Grofty.
for the
Buck.
bucks. You know what I'm saying?
All right, guys, my friends, Kellen, thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you.
For being a Debbie Downer today. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
No.
man, it's rainy. It's miserable outside.
That's the vibe. Yeah.
Sounded like the house was shaking earlier.
Really?
Yeah,
Whoa.
it is the vibe. But thanks again for having me on. Guys, I will not be here next Thursday. I am so sorry.
Dang.
I've got to do some,
You will be missed.
dare I say, I have to do some adulting.
Oh.
Oh.
Even that's a Gen Z term.
the big-
Ew.
that
in the
needs to
big
go.
We
city.
hate
That's-
adulting because
yeah.
we're stupid Zoomers.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
well, I'm a
nah.
millennial, so a little bit better. But
Oh,
hey,
okay.
follow me at Kellen PDL. Thanks again. I always have a great time on the show, even when we get into sad, depressing debates. It's still
Yeah.
fun.
Was it sad and depressing? I
Little
think
bit.
it's informative.
I saw despair in each of your eyes at some point during the pod today.
Despair.
No, for me it was just anger.
I think I've been alive too long to go to anger. I go to it's the same discussions that go in a circle, so it's not anger. It's
Cycle,
just
yeah.
it's just a cycle. So all right, man, which means we're relying on you next week.
Yes, I will be here next week. I actually
No
care-
adulting for you.
Yeah, I care about doing my job. I don't do adulting, millennial things like that. I am a proud member of Gen Z, born in 1992. You can follow me on Twitter at KellenPDL. And I will be on the Timcast IRL show again this evening if you guys feel like watching that.
And if you guys are in the DC area Sunday, come out to the Rage Against the War machine protest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, don't go watch RoboCop. Then you're pro-war propaganda.
Listen, this the NFL season's over. I know you got nothing going on, so go to church and then go down to DC and come down to the protest. There's gonna be a lot of big people there. We're gonna be there. We're gonna be doing something.
We'll be there with a lot. We haven't really determined what we're gonna be doing. We might be doing like a man on the street type stuff, like we would do with a lot normally, or Tim will be doing some.
We might be doing double Dutch with some of the local
We could be doing
kids.
double Dutch. I am gonna try and encourage that.
You should ask anti-war protesters their body count.
Oh my God.
Ooh, that's a great idea.
You should be like, yo, like, what do you think of high value? Like, what's a high value woman?
Yeah, that's a great idea. Do some fresh and fit type content with just like man on the street stuff. Maybe
ask them how much their apartment costs and ask them if you can see it.
Oh, that's a great idea. I wonder if we had like a like asking, okay, who is the whatever president of the United States, or how many moons are there, or like those typical questions you see on TikTok. They're like, or what like You guys know what I'm talking about? No?
I'm down.
Oh, yeah.
We
should do that. But in that crowd.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And then see if there really is a difference in the answers with people. And see if this is just like a phenomena that exists only on like Highland and Hollywood.
Yeah.
Or if it's
Miami. That stuff happens in Miami. Like, I don't know if that's going to happen in DC.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
All right. Mary, where can they find you?
You can find some pictures of me on Instagram at Mary Archived, and feel free to send me hate on Twitter. That is also Mary Archived. Tomorrow on the show, we've got Ian coming back to Pop Culture Crisis, so
Ian
it's going to be a great show. We've got one more super chat from Porker Rosso Forever. He said, they're changing my route. I won't be able to watch live and chat. See you guys later. Great show, guys. Brett, you should review old movies. I'm out.
Damn.
I've actually considered doing that for the website, but I would have to. The idea would be it wouldn't be like a Pop Culture Crisis thing, because I don't know if Mary would want to watch old movies and review them.
Depends on how old are we talking.
Yeah, like it depends. But the idea would be to if I picked a movie and got 3 other people together to review it and do so. It would be good additional content, and then I wouldn't have to be depressed all the time. With
I'm
all
down. Let me know.
Down?
I'll help
all
you.
Right. All right, guys, if you'd like to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Brett Dasovic. The show is here Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. If you would like to listen to the show rather than watch, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. And if you'd like to follow the show on social media, it is on Twitter at popculture_show, Facebook and TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. We'll be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then, guys.
Bye.
Bye, YouTubers.